record button, pull up my notes because I absolutely cannot do anything without my notes. That's the wrong set of notes. That's for something different. Okay, here we go. And then pull up the table. Welcome, my friends. Welcome. Hold on. I'm not getting notifications. Let me make sure that... Okay, there we go. We are good. All right. Welcome, my friends. Welcome back to the Krieg Dominion. I am Omar Krieg, your Lord and Commander of the Krieg Dominion, and your host for this, the fourth episode. Oh god, let me just get into my notes and read them the way I have them written. It will make a lot more sense. Your host for tonight's event, Warhammer 40,000 Rogue Trader Tithes of Acheron. This is episode 4 of Segmentum First, Into the Maw. And with me are, of course, my wonderful Grimdark players, Rodance, Arturios, Warner, Darius, and of course, Rev. Let's take a moment. We're going to very briefly check in with the players, and then we'll get started. And I do want to point out, we are a couple minutes behind. Today has been one of those days. It just is what it is. But let's start with our players, and for that, I need my Zoom, because I can't remember the order that everybody's in. That's not the one I wanted. God, I have so many freaking windows. Here we go. Rev, let's check with you first. Rev, what's new and exciting for you, since it's been like 3 weeks since we all last got together?
Well, aside from an intolerable pain in my ankle I'm trying to avoid talking about.
That you just talked about?
Well, that's limiting my mobility, so I'm like, if I fall over and scream, I've fallen out of my chair and can't get up. But
man, calm down. I'm sorry, go ahead.
But other than that, so I had an interesting idea for a business opportunity. I was hearing during the Olympics that there's an unrecognized sport called it's hobby horse showmanship.
Go ahead.
I realized
I should have known this was going to be a joke because you're talking, but please go ahead.
And I realized it's an untapped betting market. There are no betting markets set up currently for the hobby horse competitive scene. And so I'm really looking to getting forward into getting this rolling. I can send you some information afterwards.
No,
Omar,
please, because if this is what I think it is, I just don't want to know. Darius, the player of Jace, Sebastian, what's new with you, my friend, in the last few weeks?
Well, right now getting set up. But I am 44 today.
Happy birthday! I was not
Happy
expecting
birthday.
that. I was not expecting that as an answer at any point. You're still a young pup to me, though.
Besides that, I've been helping a friend move. And that's been about it. Just gaming otherwise.
Right on, right on. Warner, on the screen you're shown as Take Me to the Hill. You're also the player
Correct.
of Reinhardt der Amelugen, or something like that. What's new with you?
Reinhardt.
Yes, well, sorry, I didn't want to throw the German accent and spit all over my computer.
You didn't say my character's name.
No, I didn't.
Won't.
You noticed?
So, nothing like particularly exciting, but this morning my wife sent me a message saying that our 2-year-old had sneezed and then said the words, "Oh no, the cookie."
Okay.
And
wow,
in horror,
I was totally expecting
she
all
looked
kinds
down,
of... Sorry, go ahead.
and there was like saliva-ridden, half-chewed cookie bits all over the child's tablet. So while children are a wonderful, rich blessing,
Yes, they
that
are.
I very much appreciate, they are also disgusting.
They are. And if you haven't noticed, there's not a lot in between. On any spectrum that you want to put these qualities that you want to assign to your child, because they're absolutely true. You've got the one extreme and you've got the opposing extreme, and there's nothing in the middle. They're gloriously cute, amusing, funny, and they're a pain in the ass because they're always temperamental. They're coordinated as hell, but then they fall on their face when you are watching them. I could probably go for a little while on that, but I don't want to. Yeah, those of us that have children know how much of a blessing and a potential curse they can be. I should not really feel bad saying that. I think any other real parent out there will know exactly what I'm trying to convey here.
Mm-hmm.
I truly, deeply love all 4 of my kids. Alterios, what's new and exciting for you, my friend, in the last few weeks?
Not much. Classes started again for me, so I'm back on the grind to try and turn my numerous amounts of credits into something actual.
What degree are you pursuing? I'm curious.
Computer science associates.
Okay. Well, best of luck, my friend. I know the struggles of getting back into the, oh god, I'm back at school.
Mm-hmm.
Rodance? I really want to make jokes about last night, but I will refrain because I know the feeling. But at any rate, what's new and exciting for you?
Yes, I totally slept through the first hour of our game yesterday, and they had called it by the time I had actually woken up. Because that was my first 4-day weekend in a while. It was lovely.
That's amazing.
But
4-day
it was
weekends
the
are
first.
awesome.
It was a 4-day weekend after dealing with 2 weeks of having no power in my house. My car magically deciding I'm going to have a leaking sunroof in the middle of leftover hurricane season. And my stepfather getting in a motorcycle accident. And the same literally happened within the same 36 hours.
God damn.
So that's what I've been dealing with from the fallout for the last 3 weeks. I finally am in my own house again.
What?
I spent 2 weeks living at my mom's because of this nonsense.
Yeah, and that was from Hurricane oh god.
Yeah, this happened 2 days before that hurricane came through.
Oh.
It was the random thunderstorm.
Oh, I thought it was because of the storm.
No, I don't even get to say the hurricane did it. It was just a generic random old thunderstorm. Hey, at least my 20 grand dead tree should probably be a lot less than 20 grand now that doesn't have branches anymore. It's just a trunk and a stump.
Do you get to keep anything for like firewood or anything like that?
I haven't gone to clean any of it up other than shove it into the drainage ditch, so it's still there technically. It's been dead for 4 years now. I don't think I'd want to use it for firewood either.
Yeah,
It's biodegradable.
Yeah, it'll just degrade biologically
you can't
very
see
slowly.
It, but behind my camera is my fireplace that has a cap on the top. And I can't use it unless I want to pay, $5 grand worth of repairs to fix the flue tiles.
No, that's a big fat no.
Well, basically, there's these tiles that are on the inside of your chimney, and if they're not aligned, little embers get popped up, and that's how you start a fire on the inside of your walls on either side of your chimney.
Yeah, that can be a problem. I mean, generically, fire is bad.
It'd be pretty embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
Our first official pun of the evening.
Thank you.
At any rate, any in-gamer character updates? I know last week. So for the viewers, last week was canceled because I had a headache. Which sounds pretty lame when I say it like that. However, this was one of my magical...
Does it remind you of your ex-wife?
No. Let's not go there either.
Let's see.
This was one of those like 8 to 10 hour long headaches because on one hand, I thought I was hydrated. I actually was hydrated. In fact,
I can't
hydrated.
because I've got a headache.
Shush
not your
you.
day.
Not talking
So Omar, the trick is get the Gatorade mix of like the normal, like a good flavor that isn't sugar-free, and use like a third of the recommended, and it works just fine without it being as painfully sugary.
That could be part of the problem. Like,
because if you're sweating, you have to. If you're sweating a lot, you have to replace the sugars, the salts, and the couple of the other stuff that you sweat out.
Yep.
They also make a sugar-free Pedialyte that works pretty good.
You say sugar-free, and it turns my stomach because a lot of sugar-free stuff has extra crap in it that you really don't need. Well, that is almost as bad as going with sugar. Sugar-free things are almost all made out of sugar alcohols, or that vile monk fruit or vile stevia flavors.
Yes,
because you either got monk fruit,
stevia,
which are both taste disgusting, and the rest of them are pretty crummy sugar alcohol compositions that burn through your system the same way normal alcohol does and will give you a horrible digestive unrest if you eat too much of it.
Pretty sure since it's for babies, it's not the sugar alcohol.
No, probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Also, there is sucralose and
that's sugar,
aspartame,
and
Ugh.
and
preservative.
you know, aspartame will give you cavities in your brain, and
Actually
sucralose
answers
has
a few
been
questions.
found to cause leaky gut.
Yeah, just
Is that
stick with the
why
normal
I
sugar in
don't?
moderate amounts. You're less likely to die from it in, weird and
Yeah.
painful ways. Just diabetes.
So long story short, I had one of my
Diabetes.
patented day-long headaches, and I was like, I can't concentrate. I can't run a show. I can't play a game. It's not gonna happen. I think I barely managed to log in to do my daily stuff for a couple of different games I play, and that was about the extent I was willing to do. And I spent like 2 hours watching Game of Thrones, barely paying attention to it. Because of that, though, because it was the second week in a row, and this time was definitely because I was feeling out and I was feeling bad about it because I knew everybody really wanted to play. I really wanted to play, even despite my feeling absolutely horrible. I said, you know what? Everybody gets a free acquisition roll as per new characters. So, Jace did some sort of ammo. I don't remember now. Something about mutilation, I think. Amputation. No, I don't remember. There was a A in the word and something about body parts being eviscerated. I don't know. Rev, you did something about power armor, like ancient.
Yeah,
Or something.
that was a joke. Archaeotech is not something I could get
Yeah, no, I know.
on a new character roll.
I figured as much because Archaeotech sounds like it's going to be something like a -40.
It would be a unique item.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know what anybody else took. Did anybody else take anything?
Yes, I took the absolutely most boringest nonsense that we're all definitely going to use because it's going to keep us alive.
You took a first
I
aid
bought
pack.
I bought med kits for the entire team. The advanced kind where you don't have to be trained to use them.
There you go.
Again?
Hey,
Yeah, I
well
thought
now
we
you
already
got
had
more.
those.
Now
Wait,
you got
wait.
more.
Was there another acquisition role in there that I forgot about?
I think Warner had done that the last session that we played. I think he had grabbed enough packs
Yes,
for
the
everybody.
last session. No, Rodance got
I've
them the
grabbed them
last
for
session
everyone.
we
So if
played.
we
This is
so-
between sessions.
Oh, I haven't
You
gotten
got
one for
a-
myself then.
As
Ah.
per care gen, not
Yeah,
as
so-
per rolling for it
Yeah.
acquisition.
So
Yeah,
Would it be funny if I got my other arm replaced too? Because that would be kind of funny.
The flesh is weak, and now you're becoming more Mechanicus than Astrotelepathica. But whatever.
Well, you get bonuses with the arms because you can
Yeah,
buy
that
the
arm
nice
has more
arms with
strength
the
and more
dexterity
something
and
or other.
stuff,
Yeah,
and it
under
has more
specific
toughness.
situations.
yeah. Well, yeah, like
Yeah,
if you're
I
trying
wrote
to
them
lift
down.
or something.
Specifically, it's +2 toughness, +10 strength checks for use of strength, and +10 agility to the checks requiring delicate rolls. For example, as if you were trying to pick a lock or something else.
Alterios,
wrote them
did you happen to grab anything? I don't know. Maybe you were busy with something. I don't know. Did you catch the free acquisition roll I threw out to everybody last week?
I heard about it. I just like the stuff you get via character gen. I guess I'd go through it for a I could get a bolt gun. I was just looking
Hey,
at it.
there's nothing wrong with a bolt gun, my friend.
I'll pick that
There
up.
are certainly worse choices to make than I'm gonna get a bolt gun. All right. Well, let's go ahead.
Speaking of which, I got a
sorry.
solo bolt gun.
Nice.
The shells that I got were
Yeah.
amputator shells.
See, I was close when I said amputation.
You did.
Yeah.
It was really close.
Nobody actually asked what I actually got.
Oh, well, what did you actually get since you actually didn't get Archaeotech power armor?
I got a conversion field.
Ooh, is that the one where when it depletes all of its hit points, I'm air quoting, it like explodes and kills everything around it?
No, it's one that if it absorbs over a certain amount of damage,
It
it
blinds everyone?
acts like a flash grenade.
Yeah, that's it. So now what you'll need to do is get like, I forget exactly what they're called, but basically polarization or sunglasses for everybody. So when it happens, they can survive their roll.
So there's polarizing lenses and things that are more expensive, but I could just go the cheaper option and buy blast goggles for everybody.
Yeah, then everybody runs around with the 1980s sci-fi goggles.
Except me,
Cyberpunk!
it doesn't affect the user. The flash grenade effect doesn't affect the user.
No, but it affects everybody around the user. So
I know, but I just finished.
But
saying
you know,
I'm gonna buy-
you know what? That makes sense for Brogadio. Fuck everybody else. I'm good.
I'm blind!
I did just say I was gonna buy blast goggles for everybody else.
That's fair. All right. Previously on Tithes of Acheron, Into the Maw, the rogue trader Brogadio Van Breeze Gizbath III, and intended.
Borgadio.
I'll get it right eventually. Just roll with it, damn it. And attendant crew and senior staff: Astropath Transcendent Winter, Archmilitant Reinhard der Amalungen, Explorator Icaros, Voidmaster J. Sebastian have arrived at Port Wander. Here they have met with each other and their benefactor, Seneschal Marcellus Thale, as well as an old ally of House Van Breeze. With the tales of a lost treasure ship and the psyker impressions left behind on a nemolith to guide them, the explorers now venture out to seek navigational charts and any other information that they can acquire before starting their own voyage into the Maw. Let's see. We do have a retcon roll that needs to be made, I believe. Rev?
Yeah. I made I sort of was leaning into the Brook no insult
Yes.
when I said fine. The actual member of the house gets it,
Mhm.
but my character would also have the intelligence to know that. And I knew at the time this is going to be a bad idea, but for the sake of role play, I should have rolled to see if my intelligence or my desire to
willpower,
brook no
actually.
insult would win.
Yeah, you have to roll a willpower test if you.
I know
in
it's
order
a
to
willpower
ignore
test,
the...
but I'm saying like it's an intellect telling your willpower, don't do this.
Gotcha. So you're gonna make a roll now. To be clear for both myself as memory, and as well as everybody else, when you re-roll this, if you pass, does that mean that Ignatius Fell is the one that survived, and it was the minions that were killed, lobotomized, turned into servitors,
That's
or something
correct.
different?
That's correct. If I fail the willpower save, then I'm absolutely livid that we were stabbed in the back like this.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So your willpower is, what is your willpower score?
Well, according to my,
And I believe it's just a challenging, no modifier willpower test. Am I right?
I am not sure, but my willpower is only 28. So
Well, before you roll, let me just double check. I'm pretty sure it is. Let me see what the core book has to say.
well, there's no reason I can't roll, and then you decide.
Yeah, this is true. I mean, I can do whatever I want. I'm the GM. That was a bit snarky, and I apologize. Let's see.
Hey,
If
hey,
it's a
Rev.
straight-
Rev,
if
can you
it's-
believe it? He's finally realized.
right?
Yes. Okay,
He doesn't have
where
to let the whole party
is-
die because he didn't understand how a mechanic worked.
Hey, the whole party has not died in any of my games yet. Now I realize you're talking
TPKs are
about.
fun for everybody.
Yeah, they
I,
are.
I,
I
I just
agree.
gotta say, we are exactly two double failure of a chaos roll from me being possessed by a demon and destroying the entire group in one go.
Yep.
Well,
Has
I'm
happened
going to
before.
suggest don't do that. Let's see. Brook no insult. No, that's a nobleborn character thing, correct?
Yes,
Where exactly is it?
it's. I can find it real quick.
Supremely Connected Vendetta. Starting Wounds. I'm not seeing. Am I crazy? There's the
It's one of the.
description.
It's an origin path thing. Hold on, I'm scrolling.
Yeah,
through.
yeah. I'm looking at Nobleborn, and I'm not seeing it specifically. Or is it under something else? There's Vendetta.
It's gonna be under the one of the others. It's
Oh, one of the other path points or whatever.
yes.
It would then be. Let me see. Haunted. Savant? No. Renegade.
He had to go down the right hand of the chart, so there's not a lot.
Yeah,
of
he wouldn't have been able to.
picked.
He wouldn't have been able to wiggle around too. High Vendetta. Brook no
Yeah, High
insult.
Vendetta. You will have no
Uh,
serious offense to your honor or person or those
yep.
under your protection to remain unchallenged. You may take a willpower test if you wish, modified by the provocation and consequences.
Set by me.
Yeah.
But that's fine.
So there is
Yeah.
modification set by you.
Just challenging. Willpower 0. Or plus 0, I should say.
Okay, well then I failed.
And you failed.
Yep, and he did. So that means that Ignatius fell is indeed dead. Broyles is the one that survived. And is the one that takes, excuse me, the head of Lady Ash and the letter that... Do you want to read the letter again? Do you have it available? You don't have to if you don't want to.
Yeah, sure, I can pull it up in like
For
20
the
seconds.
viewers' sake, since it has been a few... I almost said years. It has been a few weeks since we last played.
It's been 50 years.
By the way, I seriously thought about putting some innuendo in that letter. But I didn't.
Alright, so for the viewers, Rev is
Innuendo?
looking for the letter that...
I have it.
And he's going to read it again. So if you watched the last episode, and then you're watching this like back to back, this may be somewhat repetitive, but bear with us. Please, Rev, take it away.
Dear Sir Fell, I am bereft to be contacting you in such an inauspicious manner. If you are interested in the business of profit, I can relate to that pursuit, and profits are always open to negotiation and division in the event of cooperation. But please, let this be a reminder. Thieves get their hands cut off. Sincerely, Bogadio Van Breeze Gisbert III, First of Avalon, Defender of the Order of St. Drusus, recipient of the Calixus Star, Lord Captain of the Acheron's Ferry, and honored holder of a sacred warrant of trade.
I keep thinking it's just a little tin star. But anyway, alright, so what that actually does is I thought I was going to do a cutscene. I never actually wrote it out, so now I don't want to ramble and just kind of off the cuff a cutscene. But basically, this cutscene would entail something to the effect of Broyles being killed by Haderach Fell as the ship, the Fell Hand departs Port Wander and heads off in the general direction of the Maw. That will then take us to...
So he is a shoot the messenger type.
Like I said, if I had written it out like I thought about it at one point in time or another, it would have been better, and there would have been like a little bit of dialogue and stuff, and I don't remember any of it now. And I didn't actually write it out, so needless to say, House Fell and House Van Breeze may or may not be having something of a tiff right now. Let's see. That takes us to Jace going to talk to somebody about map makers. Am I right?
Well, I thought we were... I know he was going to talk to them, but I was assuming we were going to use the excuses as for our additional shopping as well.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's do some acquisition rolls first, and then we will do some role play with Jace and whoever goes with him to the Master Scrivener's office, or shop, I should say.
Well, blast goggles are
What page
super
is
common.
what page is acquisitions on? I don't remember off the top of my head.
273.
Thank you, sir.
Quite welcome.
Ah, yes, there they are. Okay. You said blast goggles are...
Yeah, they're in Into the Storm, and they're common.
Okay. Common is plus 20. How many are you looking for?
Enough for the squad.
So that'll be another plus 20 for a total of plus 40. And what craftsmanship are you looking for?
I don't think craftsmanship matters for blast goggles.
Sure. Let's go with...
However...
Go ahead. Sorry.
I might try to get... Because basically I'm at a... With 2 pluses and no negatives, it's essentially an automatic pass, correct?
Well, it's your profit factor plus 40. What page in Into the Storm is the goggles on? Just so I can take a quick look at them for how the rules are.
They are on page 133 as the numbers are listed, and probably page 134 at the bottom of the page as
Yep,
the
I see
PDF
it.
goes.
Yep. Let's see. All right, so it doesn't actually list any like rules, so to speak, as far as like make a roll plus this plus that. So here's what I will do. So you're looking at a plus 40 at the moment. If you like, you could take that minus 10 for good quality. That will give you a plus 10 to any rolls that you need to make in order for the blast goggles to have their best outcome. For instance, flashbang goes off make a roll to make
When
sure
you say their best outcome. Not sure what you mean. They're
So basically, if you want to use the goggles and get a bonus from them on a roll, then good will give you a +10, best will give you a +30. But the
they're
negative
not a roll.
mod-
They just block any blinding effects.
Fair enough. I was gonna pitch to you.
What I was gonna say, I'd be willing to consider. So it's an 80. It would be a roll. I'd have to roll under 85. I'd be willing to consider rolling under 75 if the goggles are, say, if I spent the time to get goggles that are somewhat personalized to the appearances of each of the crew from what I've observed.
I can do that. 75. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is our profit factor 45 or 46?
45, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, it was 44, and then Darius joined the group. That brought it up to 45. Okay. So yeah, 75. And he got a 67.
Hey, it works.
So now you guys now have personalized, customized blast goggles for each of your characters.
Most
if any-
excellent.
So
I
you can-
just
If you want the Oakley Ray-Ban wraparound, that's what you got.
right, so
I kind of am looking at this in my hands, and I'm like, do you want me to replace my current eye coverings with these? Is that the request?
well, obviously, if they're personalized to each of them,
Okay. I take it off. I have big holes where my eyeballs used to be. Set it down, put the new ones on, going, does that work better?
They definitely feel better than whatever you were using. Like, they have that new feeling, but it also, like, yeah, they really
They
don't
conform
bind
to
on
my
the
face
ears a
more
whole
comfortable.
lot. Yeah, these are slightly more comfortable than your previous set.
Yeah. Nothing's worse than glasses that are either too tight or too loose behind the ears.
Oh, yeah.
That hurt. It's so sucky.
Yeah, tell me about it. I used to wear glasses. Don't let this face fool you.
so the description says that it protects from shrapnel in close-in engagements, small shrapnel, to
Okay.
prevent damage to your eyes.
So eye
So I'm-
protection.
So I'm guessing any injury that might result in an eye injury could be negated.
Yeah.
So next time someone tries casting pocket sand on you, you just have those bad boys on.
Pocket sand. Yes.
That's right.
The other is that it just negates high intensity bursts of light, such as close las gunfire or even photon flash grenade blasts. So anything that would blind you, or anything that might take out an eye because of an injury roll, I guess there's a chance to avoid that.
Yep. Sounds good to me.
Obviously, a round through your head and a blinding roll will be the least of your problems.
Yeah.
Right.
Anybody else making acquisition rolls?
Indeed.
Real quick. What were those called again?
Blast.
Personalized what?
You can call them. I mean, they're blast goggles, but you can also make a note that they're personalized, customized.
The description for them is page 134 of Into the Storm. Well, it's 133 as the numbers read. It's 134 as the
PDF page.
PDF goes.
Yeah, my computer is a laptop and dates back to 2013, so
Ooh.
I'm not opening any more books.
I don't blame
Okay,
you.
we'll tell you what. I will copy and paste you a description of the item.
There you go.
Don't worry about it. I just put personalized blast goggles.
That works. Warner, what are you
I'm
looking
getting
to
recoil
acquire?
gloves.
What are they?
Recoil gloves.
Okay, what do they do other than what their name may suggest?
They are. Let me just bring
And
up
what
the
page?
page for
What
it.
page can I find those on, just so I can see them?
Yes, they are in the core book
Mm-hmm.
under gear. Let me just find that real quick. Come on, there's got to be a. There it is. Gear.
I feel like they're gonna help give you probably like a +10 to firing. and even with
9.
a recoil.
The recoil gloves
What page?
are on page 141 of the PDF. These gloves have interlocking plates connected with memory wire. When the user grips a weapon, it locks together into a rigid strut around the hand and wrist, thus preventing wrist or arm damage when the weapon discharges. A character using a recoil glove can fire a basic weapon with one hand without the normal -20 penalty. In addition, pistol weapons that require two hands can be used one-handed without penalty.
That's helpful. That's helpful.
It is.
I think. Can you get a pair of those for me as well?
You can get
well,
a pair for
let's-
yourself.
Well,
Oops.
I could make the roll for the group at a 55,
I was just
or
gonna
for
say,
myself at a 65.
yeah. So what's the rarity? I believe it said it was rare, so that's
It's rare.
minus 10. It's gonna be plus 20 for the squad if you want to get the squad, or plus 30. You sound like you did the math already, so go ahead, hit me with the number one more time.
55 for the squad, or 65 for just myself.
Okay.
And
obviously,
I could use it for my hand cannon.
Oh yeah, I bet you could.
Yeah.
That sounds like it. Recoil
So-
gloves firing the hand cannon. Okay.
I will attempt to get them for the whole group.
Okay.
And
so,
if this goes awry, I will blame Darius.
sounds like a plan.
Okay.
It sounds like you don't need to blame
At
Darius.
22,
It's 22. Now everybody has
Recoil gloves for everyone.
I will put them on my list.
All right. Anybody
They can
else?
be useful down the road.
Anybody else making acquisition rolls?
So for my free one in between sessions, yeah, I literally did just now. I have 2 Bestcraft bionic arms because it entertains me.
That's amazing.
Well,
Psych are
they're-
running
the
around with
Bestcraft
R2D2
ones
arms.
just are really, really pretty.
Oh, okay. So now, when you get into the best craft, is that to the point
There
where they
is
don't really look like fake arms?
Well, they can look completely real, or however I choose to customize them. Some
Okay.
people go full on steampunk gold gilded nonsense.
Yeah, see through Theo.
I would probably have like natural looking ones. I really want that extra strength and agility bonus
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
certain tasks.
Why wouldn't you?
And then is there anything anyone specifically needs that they can't get by themselves or they failed their roll on? Because I don't really want to buy a gun. Because I feel like my weapons are okay as it is.
Well, you don't need to get a gun. You could get armor. You could get clothing or
There's
gear.
armor,
You could get a
ammo,
void suit.
Okay.
Mods.
You could get a shield like what I'm wearing.
Yes, refractor and conversion shields are amazing.
So yeah, we all started, like most of us I think started with flak armor.
More or less,
there-
yeah.
I'm assuming there's better quality armor then.
There
There
is.
is.
Yeah.
There
But
is much
I will
better
say that,
quality
unless
armor.
I'm mistaken, all of you probably started with Bestcraft armor as well.
Well, I
Am I
started
wrong?
with a higher grade.
I started with plain guard armor, but I think that's specific to my class.
I started with just carapace.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm mistaken then, because I know like
I've
the
got normal
Seneschal
carapace as
and
well.
I have,
Navigate
I
are
have,
best.
I believe I have
I
a best
upgraded
crafted,
the
but
best
let me double check.
quality Selenite void suit.
Yeah.
That's right, you did. That's right, Darius, you did do that for your acquisition roll, didn't you? I remember you saying that now.
For my character creation acquisition
Gotcha.
roll earlier.
Okay, gotcha.
The first one, yeah.
Well, it gets real
Um,
expensive real fast.
It
Yeah.
can. All right, any other acquisition rolls? Because I don't want to get bogged down.
I
here,
would
so
like
this is
to
what I'm trying
make one
avoid.
on my way to getting the nav charts.
Okay.
I would like to keep my eyes peeled for I don't even know if it's possible for me to get this on this planet, but for a Omnivision scope.
The Omniscope?
Well, the way the rolls work, that's probably going to be a little out of our essential price range. But you
It's
can roll for it.
possible, but it's gonna
Low.
have to be a low roll. Yeah.
Let me somebody help me out. What page is the Omniscope on?
The Omniscope is on page. Weapon
See, I don't necessarily
add-ons.
need the page. What's the rarity on that first? I want to say
I think
at
it's
least
near
rare.
unique.
Near unique? Holy shit, that's minus 50 right off the bat.
Yeah.
But if you're only getting
real
one,
Look.
it's plus 30, so that makes it a minus 20.
Right.
And then
Weapon upgrades.
So you'd if I recall correctly, you'd have to roll under a 20 to get it.
well,
That
it's
doesn't
40.
sound right.
On
it's
page
45.
135 of the PDF
Mhm.
is listed the Omniscope.
Okay.
The table for it is
The page
not on
before.
that page, though. Yes, the table for it is the page
So
before,
near unique,
and yes,
and I believe. Okay, so let's.
Omniscope is near unique.
All right, so 273, and then near unique is minus 50. Individual is plus 30, so that's minus 20 so far. And then common is 0. So that's 45.
So
We need
25.
25 to get
25
it if you
or
want to
under.
make that roll.
Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and spend a fate point.
And that will
To
give
get
you a
plus
plus
10.
10. So now you need a 35 or more.
Is there anything else I can do to make this more likely?
Not particularly.
No, I think that's it. I think that's it. So 35.
Okay.
Do have something I want to make a note of after we do this roll.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now, may I offer a second fate point expenditure to re-roll that?
Yes, I will take it.
Okay, same modifier, so you're still trying to roll a 35. You're just down 2 fate points total. And there you go.
Holy balls, there
You
it
got
is.
a 13. All right, you got your Omniscope, which I forget exactly what it does, but I'm sure it'll come up the next time you shoot somebody.
It's like all the other scopes rolled into one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It gives you Prey Sense, Red Dot, and Telescopic Sight all at once.
Yep, it's basically the best scope you can get, more or less. Anybody else? Oh, Rev,
Yeah, I
you
know
had
what
a
I
note.
was.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I had a note. Just because it came up in combat in the other session,
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere in the character creation process, I have the armor for my character down wrong.
Okay.
And it occurred to me when everybody was talking about crafted levels, I have best crafted carapace, which should give me stormtrooper carapace.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of 6 over my whole body, I should have 7 because it's best crafted.
That sounds right, because if I remember right, best craftsmanship armor gives you +1 to all locations covered.
Correct.
So yeah, you would add 1 to every bit of body part that armor covers. You add 1 to it.
It covers all.
Okay, and then I'm continuing on to purchase the nav charts.
Okay. Any
Yes,
other acquisition rolls before we move on?
Yes.
Or dance?
I would like to try to purchase a set of rebreathers for the group.
Okay.
They are a scarce item, seeing it's for squad level, it's a trivial, so +20. And then average craftsmanship, which is a common.
0. Yep. Yeah, so just +20, so 65.
Yeah, it's one of those where if we need it, we really need it, but I don't really expect us to.
Mm-hmm. And it's one of those, if you don't have it when you need it, it sucks.
Yeah.
And you got it. 28.
So everybody gets a common craft rebreather. Basically, it's a 1-hour canister. Well, it's a canister-driven device that lets you breathe underwater and you ignore the effects of gas attacks.
Yep.
It's like a better version of a gas mask. Except it works underwater too.
Altarios, did you get a chance for acquisition roll for this particular session?
No. I'll just go ahead and see if I can get myself another servo skull, because at some point I want to just have like
You're gonna have a horde of them?
Yes.
You're gonna be like me with my horde of face huggers from my alien game.
Yeah.
You can tell Acheros is coming because there's nothing but servo skulls for miles.
Yeah.
I do have one other interjection. Is it possible, since we're buying both the rebreathers and the goggles at the same time, it could be a one-face piece for everybody?
I'll give you this. If you want a single face piece item that counts as blast goggles and rebreather for your character, the answer to that question is yes. If you don't want it for your character, then you have 2 separate things.
Okay.
Since Icarus has basically already has a rebreather with his implants, it's just the goggles.
Yep. All right, Carlos, you said you're going to make a roll for your servo skull. What is the availability?
It's looking like it's scarce.
That sounds about
Not
right.
really
I mean, it might take a moment or two to put one together, or a little extra effort, but not a lot.
Okay.
So scarce, and then you're looking for 1, so it's plus 30, and I imagine at least common craftsmanship. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. You're looking at, I believe that just manages to come out to 46, or excuse me, 45. I'm sorry, 75 is what you need to roll. And you barely got it, but you
Yeah,
got
I
You
it.
did get it.
All right. So you have, I believe, you have one silver skull named Pythagoras. I thought
Yeah.
you got another one somewhere. I could be wrong. And now
No,
you
we
have
got it.
this one.
We turned one of the fell guys into a servitor.
Yes, and we put ridiculous names on them, like I'm with stupid, and the other one says I'm stupid. Actually, I don't remember if that's what we did or not. But so what's this one's going to be named? You got Pythagoras, Archimedes.
Yeah, we're just gonna keep with the Greek stuff.
I dig it.
Excellent.
I love it. I love it. Pythagoras. We're going to run out of Greek names. We're going to be on the fantasynamegenerator.com
really
looking for
won't.
Greek
Actually,
names.
Pythagoras was Corsican.
Okay, whatever.
There are so
I'm sure.
many.
Listen, we could all just sit here and just think of Greek yogurt names. It would be fine. That was probably a bad.
This is my servo skull Activia.
Okay.
My
Any
personal favorite
other?
is Eratosthenes.
Ooh.
That'll be next.
The only problem with the Greek names is when you start running into like 3 or 4 or more syllables in their name. Okay, last call for acquisitions. I think we got everybody. Are we good? All right, bet. Let's go. Darius, J. Sebastian. Who's going with you, by the way, when you leave the ship, other than maybe a servant or a couple of
Just
arms?
maybe a
I
servant.
thought we were all
Somebody
going
did.
together.
That I guess that
No.
works towards the answer because I know Jason's going to go and talk.
So we've handled the actual acquisitions, but I assume the way it's being handled is this is essentially the nice merchant sector.
Ah,
So we've all gone over there and
Sure.
we're making our individual purchases.
yeah,
And
I
at
can live
some
with that.
point he's going.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So we're in the
all
general
spending-
area,
it's a
but
shopping
he's-
episode almost.
Mhm.
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, in that case, Jace, is there anybody that you want
But
to come?
I probably would have brought along another Void Master in training to carry my stuff.
Some crewman apprentice or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. When you walk into this, it gives you the. It's like it's weird because when you're out in the market streets, like intellectually, you know it is a space station, but it feels kind of like your standard open market, or excuse me, open air market on any world. It's just that if you look up, you'll see a ceiling that never ends, right? But when you walk into this shop, it feels like an actual, honest to goodness, I want to say brick and mortar, but it feels more wood and pitch, I guess is the word I'm looking for, kind of shop. It's got that old, musty smell that you might expect from an old bookstore. There's dim lighting between the fact that, you know, it's a building inside a building inside a building in space. But it's like the lights are kept low almost intentionally. There are, they look like candles, but they're clearly not candles. They're actually, you know, electrically powered light sources that are shaped like candles. But it gives that bookstore 18th century shop feel. Now, granted, in the 40th, in the, what is this, the 41st millennium? The
In the
idea that,
41st millennium.
yeah, in the 41st millennium, the 18th century means absolutely fucking nothing. But for us, the people at the table, we that's the feeling you get. And it takes a moment or two before,
Georgian period.
yeah, or Victorian is actually kind of, well, no, Victorian was a little bit more industrialized than what I'm
It's the
shooting for.
19th century.
Yeah.
Well, considering Earth was reduced to the Stone Age at one point, I'm sure there's a later corresponding historical period that actually borrowed on that's being represented here.
Yeah. So it takes a moment or two, but you eventually find the individual, or more accurately, the individual running the shop finds you, an older man wearing grayish robes. He has a hood, but he's it's left to drape over across his back. He's got a bit of a hunched over demeanor as he slowly shuffles along. I want you as the player to imagine if you've watched Game of Thrones, he is definitely reminiscent of Grand Maester Pycelle when he's not being, or excuse me, when he's pretending to be old and infirm, or
Decrepit.
increpid. Yes. Although this individual that comes up before you has a little bit more liveliness in it. He says, you are looking for some sort of navigational charts, I assume. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here and wouldn't be in this particular section of my shop. What in particular are you looking for, young master?
Well, I've had a curiosity about uncharted territories of late.
Well, the galaxy may have been populated and expanded throughout, but there are yet pockets everywhere that
Unclassified. My apologies. Unclassified.
unclassified. Any particular reasons the galaxy is a vast, vast system of stars and pockets of unknowns?
Particular reason? Not really. Just caught my curiosity.
Region. Sorry. We're having a little bit of connectivity difficulties between you
Any
and me.
particular region?
Yes.
Pretty much anything. And here I will use the appropriate terminology. Could you move that map?
Yeah, I was just looking at it going, that may not have been the best place to put that map. So let me put it over here.
So anyway, what is this? The
Koronus Expanse.
On the left side of the map is the Koronus Expanse.
Yeah, the left half. Let me zoom in a little bit. And so, just for reference for everybody, Magoros is your actual destination where you want to go, and then there's everything else.
Yeah.
Just looking at some of the places on the out of character. I already mind blanked on it.
It's okay. It happens.
The Koronus
Expanse.
Yeah, you might say the trailing edge of the Koronus Expanse.
Yeah. And for the viewers, I swapped over to the map. This is not the best image I can give you, but here we are. Let me scroll up a little bit.
So there are systems like Silverhammer, Grace, Damaris, many others that just haven't been classified yet. And I was hoping to persuade my Void Trader or Rogue Trader that we should go and kind of map them out and figure out what's going on.
Yes, I see. Perhaps I could interest you in this, admittedly not the best quality of charts, but charts nonetheless, and certainly by far better than having nothing, but charts leading from the Hermitage down to Magoros. No, I'm sorry, he would not have said Magoros. He would have said Rain. My brain fucking saw the green circle and said Magoros, even though I meant to say Rain. I apologize.
What about Repton?
Actually, let me get this map resituated the way I want. Let me rephrase. So let's retcon what he just said. He's offering let me get my brain to work. Sorry guys. My brain is literally running everywhere right now because I had a very busy day at work. I have a chart that would be very helpful to any navigator that could take you from Footfall down to Rain with, I can't guarantee a certain level of minimum inaccuracy, but certainly far better than nothing to work with.
Well, that would certainly be handy.
Did I
The
hear
rain is one of
something?
those unclassified lands.
Yes, yes. Did I hear
System.
something about Repton 4? Or was my old mind playing tricks on me? He kind of smirks a little bit when he says that.
I believe I mentioned that.
over your Vox speed, you hear a thing. Hey, don't forget to ask about Refton 4 and Choir.
These maps were assembled by a number of the navigator houses that serve along this particular portion of space. Mercator has provided some others that I can't remember their names off the top of my head. Have provided others. Some have been assembled mostly by the tales of those that have plied the starways. Was there anything else I could help you with? Or shall I ring you up for this chart leading from footfall to rain?
Definitely include that one. Do you have anything going over to Silverhammer
Let me
or
see.
Repton 4?
Let me see. Yes, yes. And I want you to picture something similar to a scroll, not a scroll case, a wall of scrolls. If you've watched House of the Dragon, the
Yeah.
second season, when she's looking at all those records of who's got bloodlines and that stuff, or possible relation to Targaryen, and that wall of like scroll shells, for lack of a better thing to call it, he's got one of those. Except it's much, not so much the wall or the shelf itself is much larger, but the portions for holding various map charts are larger because the maps themselves are larger than your traditional scroll. And he starts kind of thumbing through those and looking, and then he stops and he moves over to a whole nother section. Yes, here, Repton 4 from Magoros. What a odd place to start. I'm sorry. I think this is the only one I have leading to Repton 4 from, well, virtually anywhere else.
Okay, well, do you have anything going from Rain to Magoros? Kind of make a chain?
I will have to peruse my records. Give me a moment. I'm going to say off the top of my head, and he scratches the beard on his chin. He says, I don't think so, but let me double check. Let me get the... Sorry, I'm alt-tabbing because I have so many damn windows open. Get that back up. Let's make just a random ass roll, and I'm going to say on a 50 or better, he does. That's a 52. So he does indeed have a chart leading from Rain to Magoros.
Excellent. Throw that in with the batch. What about the Silverhammer?
Silverhammer. Give me a moment. And let's go pull out the old card catalog. You youngins wouldn't know anything about that. And he disappears into the back. I really wanted to make that card catalog reference for about 5 minutes now, I'm not going to lie.
It's a microfiche.
Microfiche, that would have
boy.
been amazing. Just see him sitting there with his head to that little eyepiece or whatever, just scrolling and scrolling. Oh, there it is. There. God, I haven't used that in like 30 years. Let's see.
The last time I had to use microfiche is when I had to do a report in high school.
Yeah.
And the particular information I wanted wasn't digitized yet, so I had to go to the library where all of the newspapers' microfiches were because I needed a particular article that wasn't digitized.
Because before Jesus Christ, digitization, that was how records were archived.
Digitization.
Microfiche. All right, I'm going to do another 50 roll here. So 50 and up, he has something for relating to Silverhands. And then the next question will be whether or not it's useful. Or Silverhammer, I should say. Okay, so he does have a chart going from Silverhammer, because I'm going to make, or whatever the hell it was you were looking for. Let me take a quick look over here. Silverhammer, way the fuck out there. Okay? And on a 50 or better, it will be helpful. 50 or lower, it will not be helpful. It is not helpful. So, because we're trying to get in the general vicinity of Magoros, he gives you a chart, and he says, this is at least 300 years old, and it's in a leather case. The And he says, this is a very, very old and probably quite out of date chart, but this is the closest that I have regarding this Silverhammer. It leads from that system up to, what is this place? Marwolf. I'm pinging it on the map, by the way.
Yep.
I don't know if that's helpful. Your other things seem to be located more in the foundling worlds, but you asked, I have. What would you like to add it to your shopping cart? Just click the cart button
Why not?
on the side of
I'm
your
sure it'll come in
interface.
handy eventually.
And there I go, making an online shopping reference. All right. Give me. Okay, so you're getting basically here. One of y'all with that pencil, whoever had that pencil, whoever's got the green hand, Alturios, do me a favor, give me a line from football to rain to Magoros, and then Magoros to Repton. I believe that was the other one. And then lastly,
Yep.
Silverhammer to where the hell is it? That one. There you go. You got it.
Marvel.
Okay. So for those
Let's
charts,
see.
I'm gonna say he, as far as a negotiating thing, he's going to throw some random ass numbers to you. What I'm gonna want is an acquisition roll at a minus, let's say minus 20. What will you give in exchange to try to change that up? You have a micro bead to converse with your rogue trader captain if you feel the need, but he's spitting numbers at you that feel like they might be a little bit out of your reach.
Even though I'm a noble?
He recognizes, let me rephrase that. I recognize your claim. You're a member of the crew of the Acheron ferry. These are, I believe you will find, some of the fairest prices for what you're looking for. These 4 charts, while not necessarily the best quality available, are certainly worth what I am asking.
Didn't we have?
All right. And it's still out of my reach.
It's not so much that it's out of your reach. Basically, what he's saying is for these 4 charts, you need an acquisition roll at minus 20. What are you offering as in exchange, or perhaps taking one of the charts out of the cart to decrease this modifier? Or increase the modifier in your favor?
Leaving out Silverhammer can't hurt.
This is true.
Yeah.
Oh,
Think
well,
of it like you're
didn't-
negotiating with any generic
Didn't the
merchant.
navigator say that we had something to offer in trade?
That's a great question. I don't remember saying that. That doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Do you accept trade?
Offer our navigational data as a credit. Say that we will turn in navigational data from the systems we explore and update the information that they have on hand.
He hears your...
Okay. Yeah. So I have 2 offers for you.
Yes.
The first is we do have some current data that is navigational in nature that we could offer you to update your own records.
Okay. This is intriguing. I'm curious. Please go on.
Also, upon returning here, we would also update you with any records that these fine maps have helped us with acquiring.
Updating their navigational information.
Increasing our knowledge of the stars beyond the maw is always an enticing offer. May I offer, in conjunction with this navigational data, a small favor that I ask of you? Do this favor and provide this data, and out of character, no roll needed, back in character, we could consider this deal complete. Recent ecclesiarchal actions have led me to be somewhat concerned for some of the property I am holding. I assure you, none of it is... I can't think of the word. Hold on. What's the
Heretical?
opposite? What's the opposite of prescribed? Heretical is that...
Sanction. Well, heretical, yes. The opposite of
Okay.
prescribed would be, or it would be sanction.
Proscribed is forbidden.
Oh, prescribed
sanction-
is forbidden?
Sanctioned
is forbidden.
sanctioned is the opposite of prescribed.
Okay, so I had it backwards in my head. Okay, got it. To be clear, these belongings are sanctioned, but questionable depending on one's standpoint, and the local ecclesiarchy is not as forgiving as others.
I see.
If you could send them to an associate of mine at Footfall, in addition to providing me with information acquired in your journeys, we can call this a fair and equitable exchange of properties.
Hmm. I wouldn't have the final say-so on that.
Of course.
But
I see you don't
but I
wear
can
the captain's
afford-
bars of a commander of a ship.
Right.
My shop is open for several more hours if you feel the need to converse with others in return later.
Let me just step aside here.
Please, take your time. He will
And
take
I
the
will-
scrolls and the maps and charts and whatnot that he's put together so far and roll them up, put them back in the little put them neatly back in their cases, and then sticks the cases under the counter as he waits for you to converse with. Obviously, we know who you're going to converse with. He doesn't.
So, what is his name?
Oh, the
Red character.
Oh, Rev. Okay.
Borgadillo.
Yeah, what he said.
It's Borgadillo.
Sure.
Like Borgo-dio.
Well, that's not how it's spelled, but go ahead.
Okay. Anyway, that. I'm gonna be as bad as Omar here.
Yay, I'm not alone.
Well, maybe not as bad. I'm not intentionally mispronunciating it.
I'm not intentionally mispronouncing
You
it
guys
either.
could just give it and just call him Cap. You know that, right?
Or Lord Commander.
Lord Captain.
Yeah, Lord Captain. So I'll get on the Vox and call to the Lord Captain. Rev.
Yes. Think of it more like a radio. Just say what you have to say.
Okay. Lord Captain, there is a significant discount that he's willing to offer us, but it would require a detour to Frostfall.
Footfall. And it's not a detour.
Oh, sorry, Footfall.
Footfall. So real quick,
It's a
Footfall
detour.
is
It's a
that
detour.
well. So in order to get through the passage between those two gigantic ass warp storms right in the middle of the map, there's like 4 or 5 or 6 way stations between Port Wander and Footfall. That's the normal route people take. Anything else is incredibly dangerous. Basically what happens if you're going through the maw, you enter at Port Maw and exit at Port Wander and exit at Footfall, or vice versa, and then go on to wherever it is you're going. So technically it's not a
It's the other end
Where
of
are
the
we
mall.
at right now?
You're at Port Wander. Let me alt tab over to my
Okay, I
TTS.
see it.
Okay, I got it, because that was a lot of alt tabbing. And there's between those two systems are a number of points where historically ships will sometimes stop and rest, repair, regroup, and then continue on, because the storms are really fucking bad, or can be.
Yeah.
And you, as a Void Master, would know that. You've gone through that. You've been through that at least once, if not more, In fact, that's part of the reason why the Acheron ferry has been laid up in port for the last 6 months, is because the last time you went through on the way here, you had the shit knocked out of that ship. We talked about that during your background filler
Yes.
stuff.
So do you have any it is sanctioned, albeit maybe with a question mark. Material. Would we have any problem taking this to Footfall?
I don't see why not. Are you sure that... What feeling did you get about how questionable this sanctioning is?
Some parts of the Ecclesiastes would be more stringent than others.
Well, I suppose it's a good thing we don't have a member of the ecclesiarchy on board.
That you know of. I'm gonna shut up. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Search the ship from top to bottom.
Always
Very well.
suspect the
I will let him
Inquisition.
know. So I wander back over to the vendor.
Ah, yes, you're back, young master. How may I help you? Was your conversation helpful? Perhaps even
It was quite
profitable for
fruitful.
me?
Probably.
Okay.
I have one question.
I have many answers. Whether or not they're helpful, that remains to be seen.
In the past few months, have you had any updated maps from here to Footfall come in?
I have not, that I can recall off the top. Let me refer to my catalog of cards. Give me just a moment, please.
Very well.
I'll be right back.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm gonna make a 60-40 on a 40 or less. He has updated stuff. And that is a 47,
Nope.
so apologies, sir. My most recent information appears to be about 8 to 10 months out of date.
8 to 10 months.
Perhaps
And
longer.
how long out of character? How long have we been?
8 to 10 months is nothing.
Let me introduce you to the world of warp storms.
Yeah.
Especially when they can last millennia. Maybe 8 to 10 months isn't nothing. I don't know. 8 to 10 years. How about that? What do you want? What do you want from me, Warner? What do you want?
I'm just thinking, in a galaxy where things are literally measured in 40 millennia.
No.
As the
happened
pilot of the
yesterday.
ship, I would know this.
But
What is the most recent data that we have?
so you arrived at Port Wander roughly 6 months ago.
Okay.
So this information is no better than what you currently have.
Okay. All right. That's not going to do us any better than what we already have. So go ahead and load up my squire here, and we will take it back to the ship.
Okay. Congratulations, you have completed the acquisition of navigational charts.
You got 1 maps.
You got 1 map. You also receive, prior to you guys leaving the shop, a small chest that is locked. It is, picture ye old wooden pirate treasure era type chest, heavier than you might expect based on what you see. And the shopkeep, by the way, his name is Jorn. I will spell that in TTS for you.
BJORN.
Journ.
Oh.
He says that this chest is basically a handful of books. The point of contact at Footfall is Scrivener Victress Rain. Also in TTS chat. Scrivener is a title or duty, like basically
Something akin to a scribe.
Yeah, more like for map making is the way I understood it.
Mhm.
but that is his name, and he gives, of course, contact information, where to find the shop at Footfall, etc. And he says that. Actually, that's all he says. That's it. Gives you the maps as described by the green lines on the map there, as well as the box of books for his buddy Scrivener Victress Lorraine. And of
Love
course,
the way that Lorraine is spelled in there, because at one point it was probably the French spelling, and then they just forgot how to spell it.
probably. Anything else? Anything else we want to do as we all make our collective way back to the Acheron's Ferry?
Back to? No.
Oh, what do you got, Rev? I'm scared to ask this, but I've already asked it.
Well, once we're back on the ship, did we bring the chest with us?
Yes.
I am bringing the chest with me with the squire.
I didn't know if it was brought or delivered.
It's brought with you.
Okay. The first thing I'm going to do is point it and go, who's opening that? There's no way
Is
I'm
it
transporting the... It's obviously locked. He said it was a locked chest.
Okay. I do not have the skills to pick locks, I don't believe.
Check.
Well, I
What
don't
is
know
the
if
lock
Rodance
picking?
does. I know that she has like a double advantage on anything a fine dexterity bonus.
Yeah. What is the lockpicking skill in this game? What is it called? Sleight of hand?
Lock
I thought it's sleight of
Security.
hand.
Yeah, sleight of hand.
Oh,
Or-
security.
It's security.
Yeah,
It's
that's
security.
Awesome.
Oh.
I think sleight of hand is more for like pickpocketing or doing other defty. Yeah, you know. So.
Why
Yeah,
can't
I
they
have
just call
neither
it
of those.
thieves' tools like everybody else.
We do have a explorator who probably has extra mechadendrites who might have fine use manipulators.
I don't have any mechadendrites yet.
You don't? I thought you did. That's not
I
disappointing. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I had points. I have points in sleight of hand, but I don't have any security.
And Omar, I believe it was your son that went for a bunch of mechadendrites
That
when he was
that
going to be
might
explorator.
yeah that might be it.
So does anyone at all actually have security?
It sounded like no.
Can I make an argument for spending 100 experience on getting it, since I did just upgrade my arms into being super dexterous? I ask because security is an advanced skill, and you therefore cannot roll it unless you have it trained.
I mean, if you've got the experience points to spend, you can.
Like I'm saying, like I have 100 XP sitting there. Will you let me buy it?
Yeah.
Cool. I'll buy the training for it.
Okay.
Yay.
Let me go mark off my XP real quick so I remember that I did that. Because anything that's off class list is you have to approve it. So.
Oh, is that not
No.
on your table?
No, that's why
Okay.
I'm asking.
Okay. I will allow it. I may have to do a little bit of research off the top of my head because I think there's a couple extra small caveats that go with letting people purchase off of their tables.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna try to
so,
figure it out right now. I'm not in the middle of the session.
Do one of the NPCs have
Well, it would
security?
make sense since you just got that brand new nifty arm.
Well, she has 2 arms that give her dexterity on fine manipulation.
yeah, I
Let's
get plus
see.
10.
You don't get a double bonus plus 20?
No,
Yes.
it specifically says you don't get it stacked. It's the
Oh.
best option of the average. So, that is
question-
an agility based skill, correct? I'm pretty sure.
It should say it on there. Thale,
Security
Marcellus
is
Thale,
agility.
Marcellus
Yep,
Thale does
it is.
have security, but
You
you're
won't
gonna have-
always be around.
Well, I mean, yes, that too, but that's not what I was
I
going to say.
have a check mark by security, but I thought you said it had to be trained.
Yeah,
If
it's an advanced skill.
it has to be trained. Yes.
So if I have a check mark by
Well,
it, I guess it
hold
should
on.
be trained.
Because without looking, you may have gotten it as one of those advanced skills that counts as a basic skill because of your class
I'll
background.
look to double check on my background.
or background.
Hmm.
Speaking of background,
Uh-huh.
being press ganged into slavery does sound like the kind of thing that might make you interested in learning how to pick locks.
There was that. I actually took the stealth skills from that.
Mm-hmm.
I took sleight of hand because that would be funny to
Sleight of mechadendrite.
sleight of hand. Yeah.
That is beautiful.
It doesn't roll off the tongue as well as sleight of hand, but sleight of mechadendrite does work.
That
And
is
better
funny,
than
though.
sleight of tentacle.
Oh my god! Now that I'm getting weird images in my head now.
Yeah, let's.
Is somebody
that
gonna
just
try to
sounds
pickpocket or
gross.
not pickpocket? Is somebody
Yeah,
picking this
so
lock?
I'm just double checking something real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just double checking to make sure there isn't something in here that would change that.
It should be just your agility plus modifiers for that specific lock, unless I'm crazy.
Yep. Okay, so are there any modifiers to this?
It
For
does
example,
not appear...
the fact that it is in my possession and therefore I have as much time to work on it as I like. I'm asking if there's circumstantial stuff because we have it in our possession on the ship with all of our stuff.
Yeah, you have effectively you have from the moment you received it until the moment you deliver it to pick the lock. The question is how you're going to get away with it without making it look like you picked the lock.
I take a lot of time to be extra careful.
Okay. Make your roll when you're ready.
A little velvet covering on your tools, maybe.
Yeah. I was also going to say you can add a plus 10 with your fate point. But
can I re-roll with the fate point?
you absolutely can re-roll with a fate point. It'll be the
I'm
same
re-rolling
modifiers.
with the fate point.
So
Uh-oh.
43.
I was tabbed away
Or-
from the table. Scared now.
You rolled a
I rolled a
96,
96.
which is
So
effectively a
my
critical fail.
agility is actually a 37. So with my plus 10, it's a 47 before modifiers.
What's the plus 10 from?
My arms.
Ah, yes.
I have best craft cybernetic
Everything
arms.
all right?
Sorry?
Sorry, I was talking to somebody.
So yeah,
There.
if you're
Okay.
spending a fate point, go ahead and re-roll that. As a
Yep.
47, I think you said?
Yep, I'm assuming it's just a flat DC.
Yeah, it's the same modifiers. Wow. Welcome to the Nuffle Shuffle, except in this case with percentile dice. You actually physically break the lock in such a way that the lock cannot be opened. And it's obvious from looking at it. Not even trying to stick a key. Like, this is the equivalent of breaking the key off inside the lock in such a way that the key cannot be extracted. And the locking mechanism, even if you could get the key out with the little part that's left, the locking mechanism itself does not unlock anymore. Congratulations, you've broken the lock. The box is now stuck closed. Forever. This is now the permanently sealed box of quasi, not quite heretical material. Congratulations.
Well, you could always buy a box that looks like that box. Just break it the fuck open.
And hope you don't damage anything inside. That won't be a strength test.
There are ways to break things without, stuff.
Now, I
think
will
it
say-
would be better to crowbar it open than to break it in.
That would be a dexterity or agility or whatever this game uses. But I'll jump for that bridge when we get there. I will say this. This is the result of over however long it takes you to get excuse me, from Port Wander to Footfall. So we've got time to resolve exactly all of that. Now, in the meantime, you still have a box that has not been scratched or locks messed with as you're approaching your vessel.
Mic check.
Yes, we hear you.
Sorry, you didn't hear me a second ago.
Oh, well, I hear you now. As you are... Oh, I do have one final question. And
Unopened box?
Stand by, I'll get to that in a second. Before I forget, because my brain is running like a jackrabbit right now. Out of character, before I move on to the next scene, what are we doing with Orbist Dre? The last I knew was the intent was... actually, didn't you send Thale to have him send off Orbist Dre to get him set up with new apartments and servants and all that stuff to keep him comfortable for the rest of his days, or something along those lines?
Yeah.
Not necessarily servants, but certainly a food stipend, clothing, residential.
Yeah, wait staff.
That sounds about right, I think.
Given his age, maybe if there's any kind of assisted elderly assistance medical service.
No. It's just servitors that literally wait for you to fall apart. They don't do anything. They just sit in the corner and watch and wait because they know eventually you're going to die, and they'll be like, "All right, corpse starch." You are en route back to the vessel. You are in the, for lack of a better word, this would be in a hangar bay if the Acheron's ferry was just like a shuttle or something. So that whatever that would be, the docking slip, I suppose. Although of course the ship is tethered to the port. It's not, inside this gargantuan cavern or anything like that.
Does the ship have its own berth, or do we have a shuttle that docks with the station?
I feel like what I'm picturing in my head is you have a slot, for lack of a better thing to call it. The ship floats in, and it's literally tied off to the space station with, for power and air and all that craziness, but also personnel transfer back and forth. A docking tunnel, for lack of a better thing to call it.
Okay.
So you are in this final section leading to where the door is that takes you into this boarding tunnel. And you notice that there are a number of people just kind of lollygagging about. They appear to be your normal dock hands and whatnot, but they're not really doing a lot. They're just kind of hanging out. And they say, "Oi, you the new lord captain. When you get through the mall, you best look up my friend if you know what's good for you." And a relatively large man approaches. And he says, I gotta skim my notes because I could have sworn I had a little bit better here.
Who's he approaching?
I'm sorry?
Who is he approaching?
Well, depends on who's at the lead of the group. Is the rogue trader at the front? Or
Considering I'm the one who's got the paranoia.
Yeah. Okay. You owe me.
Paranoia.
You owe me, and you owe my boss at foot. My accent's all over the place, so I'm dumping the accent. But just imagine some sort of, dock worker, low-born, bullshit Cockney, British Londoner accent mix.
Okay.
About to load. No, I want to, but I feel like that's just not going to work. It doesn't work in this setting. But yeah. You owe me tribute. You owe my boss tribute at Footfall. And if you don't know any better, you best go see him when you get there. And these individuals there's about a dozen or so. And they all look like they're expecting you to pay up. More or less that they don't give a shit that you're a rogue trader.
So who of the group is actually standing right there? Because I don't really see my character just going shopping unless they specifically asked for me to go with her. Go with them.
Okay. I mean, I'll leave that up to
I
you.
don't know who's there.
I'm imagining at a minimum it's the rogue trader, Jace, Icaros, and obviously Reinhardt, because I feel like Rev is not going to let his character go anywhere without his bodyguard.
Yes.
Probably wise.
Well, wouldn't you be there since didn't you make a purchase for the group?
Well, it doesn't mean I'm following you around. That's why I'm asking, because my character would not immediately go, "Oh, I have to follow you around," unless you tell her to. She's
Radio, come along now.
Yes, pretty much.
Well, okay then for roleplay sessions, yes, I would want on a strange station with a new crew. I would want the crew to stay together in transit.
Okay. Well, because I feel like we've been on this station for a while now. Because I guess in this one where we first met up, or is this a new one?
This is the same station. Same station.
It's where we
same
first
place.
met up, but it's only been a couple days.
It's
For your
actually still the
character.
same day for all of you have been having. So let me back up.
Because
This is
I
now,
know
like,
a
the
couple
evening.
of us have been here for a while.
Yeah, some of you have been here. Like Jace has been here for about 6 months ever since the ship arrived. Icaros and Winter, you guys have been here for at least a couple of weeks. I don't know if we established anything more finite beyond that.
Because we got off the same problems.
Yep. And then Borgadillo and Reinhardt just showed up effectively this morning, and is now evening of the same day.
Okay, yeah, then I probably would still be with him. I
Okay.
just want to make sure the timeline was right in my head. Because, like, if we were on a normal shopping trip, I wouldn't just be following them around. Because
You know,
to me, we're in
you'd
a
go-
place we've been here before. Why would I?
Yeah,
That's like insisting that I take them to go clothes shopping. It'd be kind
like
of silly.
like we're all going to the mall and we must shop together.
Yeah, no. I see it as going to the mall and us splitting up and maybe regrouping.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
yeah, you've got Mr.
I just-
Loudmouth over here who's demanding some money for his tribute and demanding that you go see his boss at Footfall if you know what's good for you. And he's Good.
Let me double check to see if I have knowledge pirates right now. I don't remember if I took that one or not. Nope. I took Warp and Psyker instead.
Did
Okay.
anybody take any sort of underworld?
I feel like I
skills?
have some in that regard. Hold on. I was looking
Or
at too
if
many
you
other
have anything
things.
underworld or Koronus Expanse.
I have Koronus Expanse.
Okay. What do you got?
I have a trained lore skill in Koronus Expanse.
Okay.
My intelligence is 47 now.
Give me a -10. You've been here for a little bit, so it won't be as bad.
I have a peer check with Underworld.
39. What's that give you? I forgot what you just said a second ago.
47, so I missed it by 2 points.
Okay. Rev, what'd you say?
I have peer with Underworld. I know that's a fellowship check, but it means I have plenty of dealings with the Underworld.
Okay. Give me fellowship, no modifier. Just to kind of see if you would have heard anything about these individuals.
Okay, my fellowship is gonna be no modifiers.
Correct.
It's 54. Hold on.
Ow. How'd you get
He's a
50?
fellowship-based character.
Him the rogue trader.
Him's a face man. Man. That is an 8. These are members of the Casbalica. Effectively the 41st millennium version of Space Mafia, centered mostly in the Koronus Expanse around Football, but they have agents and other groups branching out from time to time or filling various holes. I will spell Casbalica in the chat for you here.
Unless that makes.
So.
Okay, so.
Just hear me out for a second.
Yeah.
Are there not 2 of us holding hell guns at this guy already?
I mean, that's kind of up to you. He's approaching, but not in a. Let me figure out the word.
So far, he's only done
approaching a
the
party
talking.
that has 2 people with hell guns.
Yeah, he's approaching because he's got a dozen people at his back, and it's just the 4 or 5 of you.
Okay.
Now, I mind you, he's not approaching like aggressively, but he's definitely approaching assertively, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, if I could make a minor correction.
Sure.
Well,
possibly.
The group that you're talking about is less mafia and more weapon smugglers. They're more a black market ring.
That sounds good too. Like, there's a variety of underworld criminal elements that you can combine.
Look,
and call it the
warlords,
yeah,
gun runners,
Lord of War. Yeah, these guys are. They're definitely expecting their kickbacks, as it were, and you haven't given your tithes.
Except that's not typically how they work.
This group does. And they're expecting
So,
like everything in their body
Reinhardt is
language.
going to
Go ahead. Sorry.
Reinhardt is going to microbead to the boss. You want I should make him maybe resync his tone at least?
So I'm gonna get on. I'm gonna reply back and say, have your pet sergeant and his friends report to the airlock, shall you?
Oh,
Done.
Sergeant Cassian,
I'll
or whatever his name was.
Bead the special security team.
Special security team. They show up wearing goggles and nothing else. I'm sorry.
I hope you're wearing something other than goggles.
No, that's not the. I'm sorry. Let me shut up before I get myself in trouble. That's some old school military coming out of me right there. Special goggles.
Squad.
Special security team consisting of goggles and flip flops and nothing else.
They've got their
Weapons,
guns
probably.
and their guns out.
No, they got none of that. If anything, they have a bottle of CLP, which is lubricant cleaning. Oh,
Oh God.
Let me clarify. They have their guns out.
yes. Yeah.
Various calibers.
Sergeant Cassian or Cassius. What the fuck's his name? I've forgotten. And I never did make that.
I thought Cassius was alright.
Cassius. It's Cassius now. Whatever it was previously, it's Cassius now.
Sergeant
Jan
Clay.
Cassius had a lean and hungry look.
Yeah, he did. He was a bit more ambitious than others. It's certainly a lot more proper.
Also, that's directly a quote from Julius Caesar.
Yes, Cassius comes back and says, "Yes, my lord. Be there in just a moment." And you know when he says just a moment, he means literally like 5 minutes. And that's a short time, is what he means.
He'll be there as soon as he humanly can.
Yeah, it's a big ship for a small ship.
Why
It's a
isn't
couple miles long, if I remember right.
A couple
Why
kilometers.
isn't the special security team at the airlock?
You didn't request them there until just now. God,
I
they're
mean,
not...
if you want like this, if you want like the 3 dudes currently guarding the airlock, sure.
Yeah, there's
you could
definitely
probably start-
guardsmen, or armsmen there. There's always, obviously, and
We
they
can,
have
we
already...
can set up a deployment and rotation zone when we get back to the ship.
Yeah,
That is
you definitely
perhaps
have
something
guards.
we should think about.
You definitely have a couple of guards at the dock tunnel on the station side, and maybe another couple along the way, and a couple more on the inside of the ship, just to make sure that nothing stupid comes aboard. And they're definitely looking at you like, "Oh, we didn't realize they were here for you like that." And they're like, there's some nervous looks. And when I say nervous, it's not like nervous scared. It's nervous like, I should start shooting, boss? Looking at the Lord Captain. They're looking for you to make the order, to make the call. Because currently, other than some dumb words coming out of their dumb mouth holes, they haven't really done anything wrong.
So I'm gonna, and my understanding is the K is not. It sounded like you pronounced the K silently, and it's my understanding the K isn't silent. But
On the Kazbalika?
yeah, it sounded like you said Asbalica.
No, it's
I heard you say.
Kazbalika. I may not have enunciated it very well.
So
Blame
I'm
my
going to
Michigan
say,
roots.
shoot, I forgot what the term for the different factions within the Kazbalika are, because sometimes they fight each other.
I don't recall off the top of my head either.
We could rookie it.
Different sex.
more like houses, but
Bloods or Crips?
Strawberry Crips. Nope, that's not right. Strawberry Bloods. GTA.
and to which faction of the Kazbalika do you belong?
The one that you owe money to. Come on, pay up. 500 gold. 500 thrones. Here and now. 500 for my boss when you get there. Oh, I'm sorry. I read that wrong in my notes. 500 for him and 500 for his boss here and now. So 1,000 thrones.
Wait. 500 for this guy and then 500 for his boss when we get there.
Nope. Let me clarify. He's asking 500 for him, 500 for his boss here at Port Wander, and if you know what's good for you, you'll check in with Emil Astras at Footfall as well. Failure to pay up? Maybe your ship doesn't leave on time. Maybe your ship doesn't leave with all the things it's supposed to have.
We'll see. I consider that a gesture in bad faith, seeing as the buying and selling of the goods that I intend to procure are something that I do a lot of. And asking for money up front, that's just
I'm
bad
not
business.
asking for money up front. It's a bribe, man. Are you new to this? Grease the wheels, man. He's also being incredibly disrespectful to a rogue trader.
Mm-hmm. The plasma pistol is now pointed at his forehead.
Outgun is up.
Yeah, the two guards at the door. That's not the right word, but you know what I mean. The two guards to the ship are definitely like barrels up, pointed, And at the same time, like a dozen auto pistols also in the classic standoff as a movie scene. All the pistols and everything start raising up all around you. There's a dozen other sets of automatic weapons. Also a lot of sights on you.
I am a Lord Commander, holder of a sacred warrant of trade, and you will address me as such.
Okay, sacred holder of warrant of trade, you owe us money. You might have deep pockets. The Casbalica has deep pockets as well. And when he says Casbalica, he doesn't announce the word as much, but it's also one of those like unwritten things. It's just one of those things that's kind of accepted. We have deep pockets too, and you don't want to mess with us either.
I may not want to mess with them, but I'm feeling very inclined to mess with you right now.
Messing with me will not increase your chances of successful dealings with my benefactors. I'm not sure if I used that word correctly, but I think you get the gist.
How deep are our pockets, my lord? I'm fairly sure his benefactors wouldn't mind a Wehrgild and a bonus.
I'm over here just my character cracks up when he says that, because Weird Guild is the payment that you give someone after you murder them.
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
I was that was the impression I was getting. I wasn't sure how the circle went.
How do thrones translate to profit factor?
Abstractly
It's
at
very
best.
loose.
It's a very loose idea. So throne geld is effectively the currency that you would be carrying around, but there's no direct translation because profit factor, basically, if you have the profit factor, you can have the item. You don't have to worry about the actual price. Right. I'm just throwing random numbers out there. Effectively, what he's asking for is like pocket change, but still, it's the principles of the matter, which is why he's not backing down, even though you've got a plasma pistol to his forehead.
As I understand it, promotion within the Casbalica is very violent. This man, and I turn, I'm addressing everyone. And remember, I have command and plus 10 to fellowship. This man has disrespected me. I'm sure that any of you who are ambitious enough for his position would enjoy it, as well as 1,000 geld. And I'll pay the amount he requested.
I just don't want to deal with Rude, dude.
All right, hold on. Let me look at the character.
So I'm offering to not only pay the amount that he requested to whoever takes his place. I'm offering him an additional 1,000 geld to shoot him.
Yep. And I'm trying to think which skill that is that you would need to roll to throw that out there.
It's got to be a fellowship-based skill because that's the talkie skill.
Yep. Command? No.
Well, with
Command's
that
more
kind
about
of money,
doing.
With that kind of money, it should also be at a fairly huge advantage.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna be give me charm. Hold on. Let me think. I wanted to use intimidate, but that's not.
You could make an argument for commerce.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah.
I have charm. I have plus 10 to fellowship with Underworld.
Go with the charm because it's a fellowship-based skill.
And a total of plus 20. It sounds like he is going to resist, and I need to take a look at something. So this will be an opposed test. I need to see what his skills are. That
sounds like an opposed command test because he's countering with his ability to keep his people loyal.
And so yeah, that will be. Oh, that's. All right, go ahead and make your plus 20 fellowship skill roll. That. Oh my God, do you want to re-roll that with a fate point? That was a 97.
I do. See, what's funny is it's actually a pretty big delay because I didn't see it until well after you'd said oof.
Well, I was looking at the dice. The report. Oh my God, the report comes up a little bit slow. Okay, all right. Well, hold on because now I gotta make his roll.
I've never had a reroll that has not come out similar to what I've rolled in the first place.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. I have.
That happened to Rodance just a few minutes ago.
Yep. So I have Fellowship of 28. I don't have a plus anything as far as command or what have you, so he's just going to roll just a straight Fellowship. 28. Ooh, and he beats it. This individual that you have the plasma pistol pointing at his forehead, he just smirks at you. And he says, "That's a wonderful."
Before you continue, Omar,
Huh?
does he get any bonuses for the amount of geld and thrones that he's offered?
I gave him he has a plus 10 because of his what was it, pure underworld, and I gave him a plus 10 because of the money and everything else involved with the exchange.
Rolling,
He just
rolling a
rolled
90
like
on
crap.
anything is just
Yeah, even with the plus 20 total, like that, you rolled a 90. There's not much you can bounce back from with that.
Yeah, I know. I was just hoping.
No, I got you. And I needed a 28, and I magically rolled a 23. So now this guy is smirking at the rogue trader's face and says, "That's a wonderful sales pitch. I'm gonna have to write that down. My guys are a lot more loyal than that. I'm afraid. Would you like to try again?"
I'm going to say I'm loyal too, and make an intimidation roll to do some fancy gunplay with my basic equipment that I can now wield like pistols.
You're twirling a full-on hell gun.
I'm gonna
He's
do the
gunslinger.
whole freaking Michael Bean thing from Tombstone.
I'm just
with
picturing this massive
basic weapons, a solo bolt gun and a hell gun.
I'm not gonna lie to you. This is what I'm picturing in my head. I realize because you're probably gonna use like a bolt gun or something, but I'm still picturing somebody taking an M4 with the collapsible buttstock and collapsing that buttstock so the weapon is as short as you can make it, but it's still clearly not a pistol, and doing the old school pistol grip. Trigger guard twirly bit with an M4. And that's the image that's in my head right now to accommodate what you're attempting to do. Go ahead and make your intimidation roll. Add whatever bonuses you think you've got on there. I believe I'm thinking something like plus 20 because of crazy, ridiculous shit that your character has. Does that sound right?
So I have to roll under a 75.
Okay, let's go. Because this is incredibly amusing. There you go. He looks at you doing this what the fuck look of like, what is that? And he's like, "You're funny," pointing at the rogue trader. "I'm not fucking with you." And he says that last line to Reinhardt, who at this point, I imagine, has done a bit of a twirly bit and now has a pointed muzzle right at this individual's face. So listen, bottom line.
I may be drunk, but I
Okay,
have two guns.
hold
one
on.
for each of you.
All right. Not
Omar.
Ryder. I couldn't think of his name. Yes. Rev, what are you doing?
Checking something.
I swear to you, I don't fuck with them dice in any way other than having them on the table.
No. I have a willpower of 28. You just triggered Brooke no insult. I shoot him in the face.
I was wondering if that was going to come up.
Wow.
You just had him call me funny after disregarding my title.
Yeah. Okay, that fucking checks out.
Yep.
Go ahead and make your roll. I'll give you a plus 20 to your ballistic attack there. Because you're right there. In fact, I'm pretty sure wait, hold on. Before you make that roll, somebody help me out. Point blank gives you probably like plus 20 or plus 30. Am I crazy?
I forget.
Easy would be plus 30.
Yeah, let's just do plus 30. What's your ballistic skill, Rev?
Well, if it's plus 30, my 70 something is my ballistic skill or
Okay.
total.
Go ahead
So
and
plus 30 would be 74.
that's 1 degree of success. So roll your damage with your plasma pistol.
Mm-hmm.
I presume the two Hellfire guns are going to go off next. Or Hell guns.
I'm assuming there will be an initiative roll if combat's in.
So it's 1d10 plus 6. So go ahead and why don't I just? Does that roll count for a single shot, or am I just holding the trigger down for a double shot.
I mean, that's up to you. Are you shooting it? Are you pulling the trigger once, or are you dumping a 2-round burst into his face?
Well, I'm asking if a double round burst would change the roll.
Uh,
I guess
Semi-automatic fire technically adds a +10 to your ballistic skill roll.
which in this case would then translate to 2 degrees of success. And it's one damage roll for the first hit, and then one more for every 2 additional hits, or 2 additional. So you get. Okay.
So that would be 2 bullets.
That would be
if
two
you went
two damage
semi-auto.
rolls. Yeah, with semi-auto, I think you've got 2 damage dice rolls. So 1d6. Or excuse me, I'm
The
sorry.
additional success doesn't make any difference, just to clarify.
You have 2 degrees of success. So on semi-auto, you get 1 additional damage roll per 2 degrees of success. So you've got the initial hit plus a second hit.
Okay.
So basically, the 2-round burst, both of them hit his face.
Oh, I'm about to roll percentage. That's the wrong thing. Do you want me to just roll?
Yeah,
You
1d10.
want me to roll 2 d10s or one at a time?
Go ahead and do 2d10 plus 12 if you like. And add. Actually, it's going to be 2d10 plus.
I hate
14.
that the. For some reason, this time around,
Oh my god, that's Emperor's
24.
Fury or whatever the fuck. Hold on.
Oh, yeah.
Let me
I've only used 1 point of fate. Can I re-roll the first hit?
stand by. We need to figure out Emperor's Fury because I forget exactly how it goes. I think you get another attack roll. What is that? Is that under combat?
Think so.
Someone's going to
Righteous
explain.
Fury.
Somebody's
It's-
going to explain that to me. 'cause I
So-
don't-
If a
So,
natural
when you-
10 is rolled on a damage dice, there is a chance for Righteous Fury.
Are you
Okay.
reading it from the book? Because I don't remember.
Yes.
Okay,
It's
go ahead. Continue.
page 246 in the book.
Well, then I'm not re-rolling.
When rolling damage...
You guys understand a natural 10 is not a combination of 2
Right.
dice,
Yeah.
right?
That's what I wasn't going to say.
Oh,
anything.
yeah. Yep. Okay, I'm stupid. I am stupid. Okay.
I'm gonna.
No, it adding it and then just showing 10, kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
It
So I
also
am gonna.
includes a result of 10 if you are rolling a d5 for damage.
Correct, but he was rolling
But yes,
2d10.
he's
So, yep,
yeah.
I spaced. I got stupid. I got shiny. All right, so long
It's
story
cool.
short, you do 24 points of damage right off the bat to his face. He can't resist it. Actually, no, he can dodge it. He can attempt to dodge it, actually. So that is...
he may want to attempt to dodge it.
What is dodge? That's agility, right? 35, so
Agility.
45.
Also, I'm not sure that counts as
Nope.
basic.
Nope. Well, he's got a dodge,
Dodge
plus
is
10.
a basic
Okay.
skill.
Oh, dodge is a basic skill.
And the skill sheet, or
But
the
if it's not trained, you're rolling it at half.
Right.
he has it at plus 10, so he would already have it at trained.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter because I rolled a 97. You happy, Rev? I
Yeah,
rolled a 97.
That's a bad roll.
So yeah, he's dead.
Your first
It
high roll.
happens to him too.
Yeah. So the long and short of it is, you dumped 2 rounds at this guy because he said you're funny, and was getting ready to say something like whatever the hell I said to Reinhardt.
Mhm.
But he doesn't even say it. He doesn't get a chance to say it. So me remembering it is not important. He doesn't have a chance to say it before his brain, bits of skull, cerebral fluid, all of it. It's just all over the fucking place. Whatever survives the plasma pistol's burning of his head material. And I think for a moment, actually, here, let me roll this really quick.
Are we gonna do the Looney Tunes thing where his head is gone but his ears just fall to the ground?
That would be hilarious because that actually might physically be possible at this point, just because barrel pressed to the forehead sort of deal.
So, what type of damage is a pistol? The gun that you shot at him?
Energy.
Energy.
Cool. What's the hit crit? What's the higher level crits off the crit table? Because that's a great way of describing how he died, and they're freaking hilarious.
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't have the crit tables
Crit
open. though.
tables. Let me see if I can find them.
I'm trying to think, because he did 24 points of damage against somebody who has 18 wounds, so that's like plus 60 or plus 6, I think. Am I doing that right? It's like the 6th level of the. Damn it! What page are the crit tables on? I gotta look this up. Now.
I'm looking.
Oh, here we go.
All right, looks like they start on page 2.
I got it.
Okay.
So at 6, the attack cooks the target's face, melting his features and damaging his eyes. The target is blinded for the next 1d10 hours and permanently reduces his fellowship characteristic by 1d10 points, and he takes 1d5 levels of fatigue if he didn't die. So basically, his face literally melted off of his head. A la... oh, shit. What's that movie with Jessica, what's-her-face, and the rabbit? Roger Rabbit.
Oh.
Who
His
framed
face.
Roger Rabbit?
Yep. Who
Really,
framed
if you're
Roger
talking about
Rabbit?
fa-
His
when you're
face
talking about
melts off. Go ahead, Rev.
You're talking about face melting, and you don't mention Indiana Jones.
That's a great
said Raiders
reference
of
as
the Lost
well. That's a great one as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's literally what happens to this guy with your plasma rounds, by the way, as his body then slumps. Now, if you notice, I rolled a 67 there. What you see happening is everybody around you that was on, let's just call it the opposition team, is all like, yeah, listen, just check in with Emil Astras at Footfall, and, we'll clean this shit up.
I was going. Oh,
Go ahead, Rev.
do we have? Would I
Second.
have 500 thrones on me?
Arguably, yeah, that's entirely up to you.
I
Pocket
put it in a
change.
bag and I toss it on his body.
I think you get one guy who just kind of, one random dude, he kind of like starts reaching for the money and he stops and he looks at you, but he won't make eye contact, like out of deferment or respect, right? He's like, is that for our boss or is that for him? I'm afraid to ask this question.
Okay, unless it's going to hurt our profit factor,
It won't.
I'll take another 500 and put it beside it and said, "That's for your boss. This is to compensate for the loss of skilled labor, no matter how insubordinate and insulting he may have been."
Thank you. I think you get like a very meek "thank you, my lord," as he reaches for the 1,000 throne gelt, whatever, and like pockets it as he looks for a mop bucket to start cleaning this garbage up. And a couple other people come by and be like, "Yeah, let's go ahead. You grab the feet. I'll grab the arms." And
Do we have the name written down for the person we're supposed to see on Footfall?
Oh, I didn't actually type it in chat, so let me do that for you really quick.
You typed it in the game.
Emil Astras.
Scribner,
Well
Emil
done, Lord
Astras.
Captain.
No, that Scribner was something Lorraine.
Oh, right. I was thinking of the other person we're supposed to meet on Football.
Yeah.
The Football is going to be interesting.
Pythagoras, Archimedes, aren't you glad you are honorable skulls? You see what happens to dishonorable skulls?
Are you actually having this conversation with your team?
They squeak back to him in binary.
I think what happens is they both just kind of look at you, and I imagine they have like little red LED lights instead of eyes, like tiny little lights in the eye sockets, right? And they just kind of look at you, and they do the lights off, lights on, blink, and that's it. There's nothing else.
Yes,
Hold on.
yes.
Alterios, do you have little LEDs that can change shape to indicate emotion?
No, these are single LEDs inside each eye socket. Unless he wants something crazy like that. I don't see that happening in the Warhammer 40K Grim Dark future.
Got some Terminator shit going on.
Yeah, I mean these are like, I'm thinking like Christmas light size, the tiny ones that you put on your little trees. But
Okay, one, Omar hasn't commented on the cat.
I haven't been looking at I almost said Skype. Zoom. Hello, cat licking itself.
Also, you mean like that level bright?
Well, I mean, I'm trying to think of like how.
You don't want me pointing this at the camera because
No.
this is the one that works down the block.
Yeah, don't do that. I'm trying to think what the I don't know, just one of those little itty bitty LED lights that It's about the size of your human pupil.
So smaller than my eyepiece in my art.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Because he's got to go inside the eye socket, not sit at the front where your eyeball, like the front of your eyeball is, but like in the back where the optic nerve connects. That's where it is, because that's when it gives it the creepiest shadows possible for the eye socket. Anyway, we are now back. I assume, unless somebody wants to stick around and watch as this crew deals with their dead leader.
No, I think it's better for all of us just to march by as if it doesn't concern us anymore.
I mean, theoretically, it doesn't concern you anymore.
Yeah.
Problem resolved. All right. It is the evening of the first day. Your understanding should be that the Fell Hand has, by this point, a few hours minimum of leeway ahead of you, as they have left earlier, probably around dinner time, and this is all taking place in the post-dinner hours, as I recall. Unless you wanted to wait until the morning for all this shit to happen. But I believe it was all the same day. Is there any last moments we want to do anything here before the ship separates from Port Maw and heads off into the void?
Yeah, I'm thinking
I'm good.
we probably do want to have a brief strategy meeting about making sure that the squad quarters are close to the
Your
the
special
porthole.
purpose squad?
Mm-hmm.
Your
Just
goggles and nothing
whatever-
else squad?
whatever the crew quarter situation is like that would be closest to that.
Okay.
Special accommodations involving both sleeping arrangements and armory space.
Yeah, I feel like
Why
they
don't
would
you
have.
guys?
But
Why don't you guys just set up an on-duty squad room? You don't need
That
to
works
move
too.
them across the ship. You just need to define an on-duty schedule.
that works. I'll let you guys figure that out off air as needed. Unless you want to handle it in character right now. It's up to you.
We can handle it off air.
Well, I think three shift is sufficient.
Seems
Yeah,
reasonable.
8 hours piece.
I do have a question for Rev, and this is going to kind of
Hmm.
put him on the spot.
Okay.
So, well, actually, before I ask this question, are we ready to commence our jaunt into the warp? This is going
Do
to
we have to
involve
roll
some.
for Gellerfield?
Yes, this is going to involve some of those roles and questions.
Okay. I don't see why not, unless there's some preparatory stage I'm unaware of.
There are some, but I will guide you through this, as this is obviously our first time into the warp. This will be a step-by-step process that may or may not be completed this session. I'm hoping that whatever we don't complete, it'll be at a stopping point that we can survive. So the first question I have. Actually, let me review my notes really fast. Oh, so before this all takes place, there's a brief conversation, or maybe perhaps a brief message is sent from Marcellus Thale to the Lord Captain, and it says that he strongly recommends that you make use of one of the waypoints between entering the Maw and exiting it, as they are meant to be points of safe refuge from the warp while traversing this section of space, as it is filled to the brim, as it were, he says, with malevolent storms and other difficulties that can occur before exiting into the expanse proper. And as you can see where your hands are already located on the map, there are these 4 waypoints, effectively. The Battleground, the Temple, the Hermitage, and the Witch Curse World. Now, conversations with the Navigator would have gotten the information that traditionally or typically it's about 5 days from Port Wander to Footfall under normal circumstances. Of course, you have these 2 massive warp storms on either side of this passage, collectively known as the Maw. So anything can happen in the in the warp storm. Warp stone is totally different and a different game, also written by the
Yes,
same
Jenny
people.
Rock.
Yep. Fuck, that totally just derailed me a little bit there.
Traveling the mall.
Yep. 5 days from Port Wander to Footfall is the standard expected duration of travel. However, anything can happen, much like Vegas. What happens in the mall? Well, frankly, it doesn't always stay in the mall.
So that's 1 day per leg. Assuming we stop it, are we stopping at all? Are we
You
going from
don't
one save
have
point to
to
the other?
stop. You don't have to stop at any of those stations. You can go straight through. And your navigator has indicated that she can make the journey from Port Wander to Footfall with the charts and information that she already has on hand. The question then
I
becomes...
recommend stopping at least one, if not two, of the ports in between.
Okay. Now, rules-wise, for every 5 days, there is a check for a warp storm, or excuse me, a warp encounter. That warp encounter can be a physical encounter, or it can be a psychic encounter. If it's a psychic encounter, it's basically your navigator has to overbrain whatever the threat is. If it's a physical encounter, basically the navigator and the helmsman have to figure out how to get around it. If there is a breach in the Geller field, that's when shit gets really fucking weird. Like demons showing up on your ship and pissing in your
That's
Cheerios.
in my backstory.
Yes, it is. And they definitely piss in
I
your
may
Cheerios.
have lasting trauma from that.
And he doesn't mean the character, he means him. That was a joke.
Mhm.
It's true though.
It probably is.
So, mechanically, would it make more sense to go straight through, or would it make more sense to
So,
stop
to answer
at
that
the
question,
battleground in the Hermitage?
As I understand it, and let me just to clarify my own understanding. If we make the journey straight through, we'd have one check.
assuming that other dice rolls don't fuck up the timeline of your trip. Because depending on how the dice roll, because literally one of them is to see how long the journey lasts. And the base is 5. So if you fail that roll, for instance, you could be looking at 10 or 15, 25 days in the warp. And for every 5-day stretch is one of those checks. Now, the cool feature about the Maw is that you can leave Port Wander with the intent of arriving at Footfall, and due to whatever the fuck happens, decide to end the trip at one of those 4 places, rest, recover, repair, etc., and then resume with... I mean, you still have to go through the whole process of a warp journey, but you have the option of ending it prematurely at one of those locations. With some dice rolling to keep from fucking wandering off into the back end of nowhere 3,000 years ago or 3 million years from now. Is that,
Guys,
that
we're
was
playing
good.
Chrono Trigger now.
I mean, it's the warp.
Yeah.
So does that make sense?
As the rules stand,
Mm-hmm.
if I wanted to go back in time,
I don't believe there's a way to intentionally play time fuckery. It's more of an possible outcome than it is an intended thing.
Lavos does seem like a warp demon of some kind.
I don't know what you just said.
You never played Chrono Trigger?
I have not.
Okay. Lavos is the big bad of the game.
Now it makes more sense. So, first question, I guess, really...
Warner was a little Chrono Triggered that you hadn't heard of that.
I gathered. So I guess the first question to ask is, what is your initially intended trip? Are we going to shoot for Footfall right off the bat? Or would you prefer to make a stop, reassess, and then continue?
I think we should shoot for Footfall, and then if we need to, stop at Hermitage.
Okay, we got one vote for shooting for Footfall and falling somewhere else.
I think it'd be better if we picked. So we have Port on one side and then Footfalls with the other one on the other.
Yes.
And Hermitage is the one in the middle.
Hermitage is one of the 4 in the middle, yes.
Yeah.
Cool. Can we just plan to go to Hermitage and then make a second hop?
That was my
Yeah.
plan.
You can.
I think that makes as much sense as going straight through with Hermitage being our backfall.
Well, provided we don't have any fails, or we don't have a fail, it avoids us any additional checks.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay, that's why we
And
want
also,
to go
the
straight
Hermitage
through.
appears to be a settled system.
It just says it has special rules.
Oh, I didn't know that's what that meant.
Well, so does Port Wander and Footfall, so it could be a
Well, also
settled
keep in
world.
mind there's two different images slammed into one image to make this
Mhm.
2-sector map. So some keys don't line up with some things. If that makes sense. But the short version here is, again, you could shoot and head straight to Footfall, and if something happens along the way, then yes, you have the four waypoints that you could back up with, or all goes well, you end up in Footfall. It's up to you. Or you could shoot for one of those 4, and you still have the option of, let's say, well, let's go to the Hermitage, and if shit goes crazy, then we can try one of the other 3. You know what I mean? You could do that. It's really up to you. It's just, this is more for note keeping sake than it is anything else.
I'm down with a single stop in the middle.
It seems like the consensus is towards a single stop in the middle. Alterios, do you have an opinion?
Have stopping at not Footfall, the other one.
Hermitage.
Hermitage seems like the best option because the warp fuckery is warp fuckery, and I'd wish to avoid it as much as possible.
Good luck. Okay. All right. So
Also, I don't wish to stop at a place called the Temple with potential sanctioned goods on board.
I mean, listen. No, they're good. It's just a matter of how good, and who's determining what is and isn't good. At any rate, okay. So the next
That's
question.
what he told us anyway.
Yes, this is true. But it's okay. Nobody can open the box. By the time,
Emperor.
listen, but it doesn't matter. By the time you get to the Hermitage, you won't be able to open the damn box anyway.
Correct.
What do you mean?
We broke
Rodance,
the lock.
yeah, Winter broke the lock.
I know she broke the lock, but I'm asking you, so over what timetable did she supposedly break it?
During the trip, more or less.
Okay. The trip to Hermitage?
The trip to wherever you go next.
So yeah, we find out that the lock is broken about halfway through, and then at Hermitage, we can figure out what we're gonna do about that.
Yep, basically.
Sounds
That's
good.
what I was wanting to clarify.
Like it. Let's do it.
You see, those holy texts only say the word Emperor 38 times. The minimum amount is 40.
And you know what? That's the fucked up part. Is it could be just somebody who's super strict by the letter of the law, and he's like, no, that book is heresy. Burn it, and you with it, because you had it. Because it doesn't have the word God Emperor 39 more times. I don't know.
What
Okay.
kind of Puritan is it? Are they an Amalathian, a Thorian?
Okay, so let me just make sure I'm going through my thingy here. Okay, so stage 1, divining the auguries. As the ship separates from Port Wander and starts wandering off into the void being, of course, synonymous with space, Anastasia Mercator disappears into her navigator's chambers, and for those that may or may not know, in or out of character, this is when she begins her preparations for navigation, and it includes some rituals that are based on her house. She has gladly, by the way, and thankfully taking the charts that she was given based on the purchases that the group have made. She now needs to make some dice rolls, and I want to make sure I get all of my thingies. So it's going to be a challenging Cynicians test. Where is my sheet?
On a side note, while Omar's getting this is important for you, Omar, so you can ignore me like you normally do.
I don't know what you're talking about. I never ignore anybody.
But how heretical would it be if it said the 20 sons of the Emperor in there?
Depends on when it was written. You didn't think about that answer, did you?
Definitely be considered heretical now.
Yes,
Well-
right now, yes. At the time it was written, that's exactly what it is, and how dare you think it was anything other than 20? All right, I need to roll a 79 or lower for this roll.
Well, first off, for pretty much all of recorded Imperial history, there was only 18 suns.
Well,
So like, there's a very narrow window.
here's what I'm actually going to do. Instead of me making this roll, because it affects you guys more so, I will tell you the numbers. And then one of y'all can push the roll button. So this is for the House Mercator ritual for divining the auguries. And out of character, because in character you will never know this, but out of character, House Mercator takes fresh blood and pours it over a map or chart, and the path that the blood takes across the charts is studied. There is a plus 20 to the Sinitians test for the ritual, and then another plus 20 for detailed charts. So a total of plus 40.
Booyah.
Rev, you're the rogue trader. Why don't you make this roll? You need a 79 or lower.
Is there a button to get the chat one on the bottom to stay up and not have to open it every time?
The chat window, you said?
Yeah, the little window in the bottom. Mine minimizes, and I'm not sure how to get that to stop.
I just click on the little thingy thing.
yeah,
Oh, I
there's
see
a
the
little-
tilde. I bet that. I bet that.
That might do it.
No, that's the console. I'll figure it out later.
Okay.
Every time I tab out, it minimizes that
You
window.
can
Nice
click on
roll.
the gear and unclick auto hide chat.
Okay. Let's see. On pass, the auguries are good, and the navigator confidently tells the captain to give the order for translation. Lord Captain, rites of appeasement. This is. Let me double check this. If any of the dice the navigator rolls for. Okay, never mind. That's different. All right. If a captain does not devote at least 1 hour to warding off bad luck before translation, then for the duration of the journey through the warp, any navigation warp test the navigator makes counts as a failure if he scores a 9 on any dice he rolls. So, each captain has their own superstitious practices, and some are commonplace within the house. What are the Van Bree's pre-translation traditions and rituals? Some examples include, if you looked in Navis Primer, for instance, that floggings or sacrifices of crew members or just fervent prayer to the God Emperor, begging for guidance in the warp. What does House Van Breeze do with their crews before they head off into the warp? This is a question for Rev.
Perhaps a. Do we have anything resembling a chapel on board aside
Yes.
from the chamber that would contain the Warren trade?
Well, I mean, you would have, at the very least, even though we don't have any named characters or even named NPCs, you would have some sort of chapel and chaplain. At very least, a minimum of one for the entire ship. I feel like there would be multiple covering
Yeah.
various aspects of the crew.
So,
It's where you go where the Gellerfield fails.
What'd you say?
It's where you go when the Gellerfield fails.
Yeah, fuck the bridge. I'm going to the chapel.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure you misspoke because where you go when the Gellerfield fails is hell.
With a quick trip to the armory.
yeah.
actually,
Or
when,
med bay if you just decide to off yourself before it actually goes down.
when the Gellerfield fails, you're already in hell. To be clear.
Yeah, that's also true.
That's why I
Rev,
said quick trip.
what is the house ritual for pre-warp insertion? Just wanted to say it like that.
Oh
I'm
my.
sorry.
Well, I definitely feel like it would involve a trip to the chapel, and I'm kind of sad now that you sprung this on me last minute.
We can define this off air or between sessions or what have you, but just kind of like something, I don't want to say generic, but give me an idea of something and then we can narrow it down or fluff it out some more later.
Okay. Do you kill people to do it?
You can
that's-
do that.
No.
You could throw
So
your
we're-
lowest or youngest member of the crew out into the void or something silly like that. You can flog yourselves or members of the crew as defined by whatever variables you would like.
I feel like my rogue trader house wouldn't be into flagellation.
Well, is it the rogue
Flatulence,
trader
probably. Sorry,
house that you are from, or the one you grew up with too?
Well, this
Because they
is
probably
the
aren't the same.
Acheron Ferry. Might it somehow involve a sacrifice of currency?
smelting down of thrown geld, and then maybe
Of
some
every
of it's
crew member
sprinkled.
has to toss 2 coins in to the
Yeah.
fire where it
Oh, I
melts
like
it
that
down.
actually. I like that. So you take a collection of 2 coins from every crew member. They get melted down, and then I think it's called a censer that they swing it back and forth. And normally it would have it has incense in it, right? But maybe it's molten drips of the currency that's being splattered about.
Oh, you've not seen the wounds that melted metal causes?
Well, I'm sure
was-
the
I
person
was-
doing it is wearing like a
Oh.
lead apron or something.
I was thinking more along the lines of it would be melted into some sort of icon or medallion of the
An Aquila?
An
of
Aquila-
the of well,
Or a skull?
yeah. So plot twist, if anybody doesn't know this, off the table, the Aquila is actually a potentially there's a whole lot of rumors that that's actually a symbol of Zinch.
That'd be hilarious, actually. But I digress.
It's actually very symbolistic of Kairos Fate Weaver. In fact, the description for the Aquila even says one head looks forward to the future and the other head looks back to the past. And Kairos Fate Weaver is a greater demon who does exactly that of Zinch.
Interesting.
And he's a bird.
Interesting.
Well-
Anyway.
Okay. So something.
Sorry.
So whatever it is that we do, it involves a donation of 2 coins per crew member, and they get melted down, and something is done with the melted coins. Well, we can narrow that down.
On some sort of icon of the Emperor.
Yeah, and it's hung like either in the bridge or a vault.
It's hung on the bridge until after the voyage, in which case it's interred in the vault.
Okay, I can live with that. All right. So what that
My
would
vault-
do?
To
Go ahead.
in one of the chapels.
Yeah. So what that does is it prevents that anytime a 9 is rolled as a part of a navigation warp test, it prevents any 9s being turned into failures, is what that does. I'm going to roll 1d100. I'm sorry, my son needs something. That's what
Well, I don't need anything else. Looking at your background.
I do. So I'm going to roll 1d100. Ship's morale is currently 100, or is it 101? Somebody help me out here. I have the character sheet for the ship, actually, open. I believe our morale is 100. Didn't we take something in the morale that actually bumped it +1? Am I crazy?
Wasn't it like
I
comfy
think
seats
the
or something?
Observator thing was good for the morale, wasn't it?
The observation dome?
Yes.
That sounds right. All right, I'm not going to roll this. Because it's not necessary. I mean, I can't fail this roll, so. Let's see. Translating into a warp storm. Let's see. If ship translates correctly, that's not on there. Next of translation. You have, I believe, entered the warp.
You said translated into a warp storm, and I went, oh no.
No, stand by. My notes are a little bit jumbled from what I remember and what I wanted, so I'm just making sure I'm not skipping anything there. So stage 1 is divining the auguries. We did that. On pass, auguries are good. Navigator confidently tells captain to give the order for translation. Translation, we have warding of ill tidings. We did that. Then we have omens. We don't need to do that. Translating into a warp storm, not relevant. Effects of translation. All right, here we go. Every character must make a willpower test as soon as their ship translates into the warp. GM decides test difficulty depending on how often the character has experienced translation. Experienced crew and, at the GM's discretion, experienced players may sometimes automatically pass. That's not going to happen. So, I need a willpower test from each and every one of you.
Oh boy.
Challenging. No modifiers.
Is it a particular kind of willpower test or just a flat willpower test?
You are
Like if it's a-
entering...
Is it against fear, against
No,
any
just
of that
straight
stuff
willpower.
like that? Okay.
We have a 34 from Rev, What's your willpower, Rev?
28.
Okay. I will make note that you did not pass that, but let's go ahead and get everybody else
Can I
roll.
use a fate to reduce that by 10
You can.
and make that 24, which means I'd pass?
You have to use the +10 before you roll. You re-roll it. Or dance
Damn.
is good.
Holy crap!
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm the one with the best willpower. Like, I have a willpower of 54.
I believe Rev
So-
is about to re-roll. Am I crazy? Here we go. You got a 30. Nope, 39. Okay, Rev failed.
What
Let's see.
is the penalty, or what's the results of failing?
It will be
He
a
hasn't
roll.
told us yet.
It will be on a roll. Excuse me. It will be a roll on a table. Real quick, Rev, what is your willpower? Because you have a 39 there.
It was a 28.
Okay.
Oh,
That'd be 77 for Darius.
I am definitely using a fate to re-roll that.
Absolutely.
Do you have fate left? How many fate do you have?
5.
Yeah, it's not unheard
I
When
of.
does how often does fate refresh, by the way?
Each session.
Every second.
Oh.
Yeah.
I wish I knew that. Cause okay, let me go update
Oh
mine
my
because I've only
God.
spent one today.
All right, 80. What
Holy
is your
crap.
what is Jace's willpower?
40.
Alright.
Do I have to stay with the second, or is it?
You
the
have to go with the
best of
second. The second
two?
was if when you're re-rolling from fate, the second result stands no matter the result.
All right.
Alturios and Reinhardt. I'm sorry, Icaros and Reinhardt. Please make your rolls.
I click the button.
Icaros with a 52. I'm pretty sure your willpower's not that high. What is your willpower,
No.
sir?
34. I think I'll try it. No, 32. I think I'll try it again.
Okay. What is it? 32, you said?
Yeah.
That is even worse. 89 minus 32 is, well, plus 50.
I'm glad. I'm sorry for you, Arturus. I'm glad I only had one. I'm pretty sure I've only got 1 degree of failure.
Rev, you are looking at a 1 degree of failure. Jace is at 4 degrees, and Icaros is at 5. Reinhardt, do you think you can top it?
We'll find out. Can I make an argument for some kind of bonus for having been through this a shit ton?
I'll tell you what I will do. Actually, let me think. For this, because it's
I
the
was on
first time.
crusade for a while.
Yeah, I will say, because this is the first time in the show, and I want everybody to get the full measure here, no modifiers for you.
Okie doke.
I was gonna say I thought you had some kind of willpower resistance to stuff. Some kind of trait.
78.
Well,
Are you gonna
That
fate that?
freaking sucks. Yes, I'm gonna fate that. I'm
What
gonna
is your
fate that.
willpower, by the way?
My willpower is 41. I am not only going to fate that, I'm going to fate that and spend an extra for a plus 10.
Okay.
You can
So
do that.
51 or better.
I'm not
Well,
sure if
I've
you can
got
do that.
all four of.
I'm
I've
not
got
sure
all
if you can do
four of
that, but
my
I'm gonna
fate.
allow it.
Oh.
1
Nope.
degree of failure. Let's see. Rodance was good. All right. So the next thing that happens, for those that failed that roll, you will be rolling on. As soon as I get to the right page and whatnot. Let's see. Zoom the page.
He took note of our degrees of failure, and that worries me.
Well,
Yes, because it's
Yeah.
all sorts of bad. We're supposed to have benefits to this roll.
no, it says could have. Let's see. Let's go to 30. Oh no, wait, I'm on the wrong book.
I miss my Space Marine.
That you do. Let's see, table 2-5. Warp travel hallucinations. You probably heard that when I mumbled it. What? I should have written down the damn page number for this fucking
Language.
2827. 2-5. Okay. Rev, you're first.
What am I rolling?
You're going to roll 1d100, and you're going to add 10 to it. 18.
If only we could have seen that roll for the willpower.
Right? Rev, for you, you suffer
We did. It
from...
was just Rodance who rolled it.
That's true.
I'm just wondering if low is good or bad on the results table.
Low is good because you're adding your difficulty or your degree of failure to your roll. So the more you failed by, the worse it gets. In your case,
Yeah.
Rev, you have a phobia. You suffer from a severe phobia, and whenever you score a 9 on any die roll that you make, you believe that you see the object of your phobia until the vessel leaves the warp. So, Rev, phobia. What do you got? What kind of phobia do you think your character is going to endure during this journey through the warp?
Being poor.
No, it's got to be a little bit more substantial than that.
I know.
I thought that would be hilarious.
Whatever I envision that my mother's killer looks like. Whatever I picture in my mind's eye as my mother's killer.
What do you picture as your mother's killer, based on what you do know so far?
In her video, did she give any indication as to the sort?
Only that, if I recall correctly, something to the effect of some sort of, not necessarily a fortune teller, but something that if she didn't survive the trip, that she was going to this place called Alpha Macta.
That's right. I know it's a bit late for this now, but was the fortune teller something we were supposed to do on the station? Because I was...
No, the fortune teller, I don't remember anything about a fortune teller.
Didn't you say something about she visited someone that gave her a fortune? And then we got the name of that person? Was that on our homeworld or on that station? Because that was something I would have wanted to do.
It would have been on the homeworld. I'm pretty sure there's no fortune teller here. I'm not getting...
Okay.
I'm drawing a blank when it comes to fortune teller right now.
Well, you said something about someone who foretold or something.
Yeah, it would have been... I'll have to double check my notes. I'll retcon as needed, but I'm pretty sure it would be on the homeworld. On Regius. Regius Prime, or whatever the fuck I called it. So, Rev, phobia...
Well, I'm paranoid, so...
Oh,
an
that...
assassin,
Go ahead.
An assassin in the shadows.
A knife in the shadows. Sharp implements. That's your phobia. Anything sharp in the shadows or at the corner of your eye. Your paranoia is spiked right now for the rest of this trip. Jace, I hate to be the guy to tell you this, my friend. I need a 1d100 plus 40.
I know. Can I do anything to make this roll better for me?
Cannot. You're literally rolling against a table. It's kind of like you have to take what you get, effectively. Lucky
Holy
for
balls,
you
that's
rolled
good.
a 49. That will give you malignancy. The character's tormented psyche bubbles to the surface as a physical effect. You will be rolling momentarily on another table, and this malignancy will disappear when the ship exits the warp. I will get to that in a moment. So you've got a malignancy, and we need to roll on that shortly. I'll get to that.
Oh no, he rolled on a 9. Does he have a knife?
Karos, you, my friend, have the worst luck right now.
Yeah.
1d100 plus 50.
I do not have a knife, but I do have a monoblade.
That's almost a knife. It's better than
It's
a knife.
sharp.
Oh my. 94. The flesh is weak, ironically. At the end of any warp encounter, the character sees the warp's mark on your flesh and must make a challenging willpower test. If you fail, you will believe you are mutating, and you will need to cut away the corruption, dealing 1d10 rending damage to yourself, plus an extra 2 damage per degree of failure on that willpower test.
Yikes.
So, Ikaros, in an ironic... You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this up as you are hearing the voice of the Omnissiah whenever there's a warp encounter.
Uh-huh.
And when the warp encounter concludes, if you fail that willpower test, it will manifest as the flesh is weak and must be removed, and some random body part will start. You'll have to cut away that part of the body. Does that make sense? Especially for your.
borrow a blade with a mono
Do
edge.
these not go away?
No,
is
they-
this gonna be
this-
something?
This ends once you come out of the warp.
Yeah, but next time I jump, do I have to like do
It'll
that
be a
again?
new. It'll be a whole new rolling process.
It doesn't. They don't stack on top of each other until you get
Correct.
a broke character. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was thinking this
That
was
would
called
be
Cthulhu
disastrous. Let me tell you.
Rules. I was thinking this was called Cthulhu Rules, where I should probably just roll up another character sheet now.
Every
Right?
time you enter the warp, you have this from now on forever.
And a chance for adding new shit to it. Yeah, that would
Well,
be horrendous.
it's an older game, so I would not be surprised if it did that too. Just like, oh, he's dead. Oh well, grim dark.
Yeah. The way you close that with Grimdark, that's a shrug. That was amazing.
More
Reinhardt,
grim derp than grim dark.
Reinhardt, I need a 1d100 plus 10, please.
Okay.
Oh, you're saving their other rolls for later?
What do we got? 72.
Son of a buck.
You get the horror. The horror. Character experiences visions that reveal the true horror of reality. This creeps up on you gradually. You gain 2 insanity points right
Gosh
now,
dang it.
plus 1 insanity point per 30 days on this journey. So if you want to, you can add a total of 3 and call it good for this initial trip. Also,
I
you
have
are-
10 insanity points now.
Ooh,
Ew.
we need to make a roll, don't we? I feel like we need to make an insanity roll. Before we do that, God, this is fucking exploding like a stress explosion.
This is why you're supposed to have benefits on these rolls. None of the people in the crew are supposed to have backgrounds where it's their first time into the warp.
10-8. Oh, that's in the core book. Okay. Give me just a moment here, guys. 286. For this, what was it? Malignancy for Jace.
Just because you want to show us the system doesn't mean you have to.
You'll be fine. I promise.
I
Won't be that bad. Well, we'll get to your insanity in a moment. Okay. For let's see. Malignancy, that's not the right table. Corruption. Malignancy. Alright, for Jace.
Yes.
Sorry, I need to look. I need to reference one more thing. Sorry, one moment. 2-6. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? 2-8, 2-7, 2-6 malignancies. Let's see. Characters tormented psyche rolls on table 10-8. Alright. Fortunately, oh no, never mind. I need a 1d100 roll from you, please. No modifiers.
And nothing I can do to make it better.
Correct. A 2.
Wow. Please tell me low is good.
I wish I could, but I really can't. And here's why. Each of like the various roles and options they have their problems. I'll just put it that way.
Like that is the only time I'm ever going to roll a 2.
Yeah, I know, right? I will tell you this. You now suffer until you leave the warp. You suffer from palsy. Character suffers from
Palsy.
numerous minor tics, shakes, and tremors with no medical cause. Reduce your agility by 1d10. So a quick 1d10 roll from you, please, and then adjust your agility for the duration of this trip to the Hermitage.
Aren't you guys glad I didn't have us go all the way to Footfall?
Man, it's gonna suck when the Gellerfield fails and we can't fight demons.
1d or no, that was your other thing. All right, so -5 to your agility until we leave the warp. All right.
That isn't that bad.
Yeah. See.
Because my
See?
ability is pretty high.
Now, as a point in reference, a one of the other possible options. I won't tell you what the numbers are. Strange addiction. The character is addicted to some bizarre and unnatural substance, such as eating rose petals, drinking blood, the taste of widow's tears, etc. That was one
See,
other
I'd have loved
possible.
to have gotten drinking blood.
Well, that would have been thematically cool for us as the players, but now you also have to acquire this fresh blood, and that will be roleplayed if that were to happen.
I was gonna say, and that's a permanent thing.
No, none of the malignancy is like anything else. This just only lasts until you leave the
Okay.
the warp. All right. Warp travel encounters not necessary. All right. I'm gonna try to get through the rest of this, or at least to a good
By the
stopping
way,
point.
is any of this supposed to affect this? Hardy, nerves of steel, or sound constitution?
Well, I want to say Hardy and Sound Constitution give you bonuses to your two of your characteristics, and then the other one, Nerves of Steel. I think that just helps you with fear tests or something like that. Am I crazy? Does that sound right? Warner, you
Wouldn't
know.
nerves of steel counter palsy?
It's not real palsy. The warp is,
Yeah.
is affecting your mind if
Yep.
you have it.
Yeah, that's effectively
Okay.
what it is. Yeah.
The warp is
Uh,
making you think you have palsy.
Okay. Rev, you made one roll already for the navigator. So for this one, Darius, since you've got the shakes, that was a joke. I need. Let me think here. Give me a second. Locating the astronomicon. What is her Psyniscience ability?
What about? I thought Arturius had to roll on a table for something.
Did he?
The flesh is weak.
No, he did that already. The Flesh is Weak is his thing.
Yeah,
You
but
crazy?
isn't there a roll to see if he thinks he needs to cut it off?
Oh no, that's after a warp encounter.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah. That's only if you run into shit in the warp on this trip, and then he has to make a willpower test at the end of the encounter, and then
Okay.
carve his flesh if he fails.
I was just thinking he was going to get a new cybernetic part when we got
Fuck,
to.
Reinhardt, what was your thing again? I didn't write it down.
It's insanity. I got to the 10 threshold
horror.
for unsettled.
That's what we gotta roll. Okay, before we roll anything else, let's take a look at the horror. So and then insanity because you hit the threshold. Let me get to the right table. Mental traumas.
Is there a way to ever reduce
Insanity
insanity?
track. Off the top of my head, no. That will require digging a little bit deeper to get a better answer though. Shock. Insanity and corruption points. Sanity points, corruption points, blah blah blah. Both of these scores begin at 0. The higher the
You
scores, more
retire your
twisted
character for
damage.
1d100 years.
I just want to point something out. My title is Void Master, not Void Slave.
Mhm.
It's okay. I'll start assigning bonuses or at least modifiers as time progresses here. Don't worry. All right, going insane. Characters and then blah 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 blah. Rogue traded danger represented. Degrees of madness. Characters is classified as having a certain degree of madness depending on how many insanity points he has. Classification gives a player a broad idea of the state of a character's mind. This is on PDF page 297.
Yep,
Mental
I'm
trauma.
unsettled, yo.
Yep, you are unsettled. Each time the character gains 10 insanity points, he must make a trauma test. This is a willpower test modified in difficulty by how many insanity points you have. In this case, you are at 10, so you have
A plus 10 trauma
plus 10.
modifier.
Correct.
Yeah.
So what is your willpower again?
41.
So
I'm going to spend
51.
a fate point to
51.
plus 10 me. So I will still be trying to get under 41.
No.
No?
Bear with me here.
Oh, plus 10.
Yeah, it's plus 10. It doesn't
Okay.
go down or start getting down until you're like unhinged and deranged.
Cool.
That's when you get negative.
That's
so
good.
right now you have a plus 10 so you're at 51 and an additional plus 10 if you want to spend that fate point to go to 61.
Let's do that. Let's do that.
On a cursory inspection, it looks like you can spend 100 100 XP to reduce 1 insanity point.
Yeah, it's a waste.
Is it though? All right, you are fine.
I win.
You are fine. You do not pick up any traumas.
God, these things get awful.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Now Darius, you are going. My cat is fucking bored. God damn it, he's climbing into shit. I'll deal with him later. Our
Work.
next test is the navigator needs to be able to locate the Astronomicon, the lighthouse of the stars. Those are my words, not anything else. This is going to be a challenging Sinitians test. Oh, nope, I'm sorry. Routine Sinitians. So my Anastasia's Sinitians is 39. I need a 59. She has some fate points. I don't remember how many. 3, I think. Or are your
Oot.
fate points?
No, this would be
Nope,
a good
2.
time to get 2 of them, or 1 of them.
Yep. Okay, so, Jesus Christ, my fucking brain is not working. What did I say for her roll? 39?
59.
59 with 2 fate points.
Oh, you can spend more than 1 at a time?
Well, she has
You
a
might-
total of 2.
Right. We might want a reroll. So she has 2 to spend.
I recommend this. Don't spend any fate points on her, anything navigation related unless needed to reroll. Don't spend
Okay.
for the plus 10, because if in the same session she navigates and then there's encounters, she will burn through those 2 fate points really fucking quick.
Yep.
Now,
Okay.
here in a minute, it's not going to matter because this session's almost over. So,
Right.
So
59.
S-
Darius, you have 2 fate points to work with. 59 is the target number.
Yeah, okay, I'll just roll.
sounds good.
59.
Yeah, you
Oh,
got it.
yeah.
With 4
be good.
degrees of success, if my math is right. She has
Mhm.
found
Yep.
the Astronomicon. Next is, let's see, what does that do? If succeeds, gains a plus 10 on any navigation warp test made during the trip. So somebody make
Nice.
note that we have plus 10 on
Plus
any
10.
plus 10 on any navigation warp tests for the rest of this particular trip through the warp.
Excellent.
We will now wrap it here. I need to make a note to check for encounters and prep those in the next session. Alright. Go ahead and assign yourselves. Oh, let me double check my notes. I have a little formula thingy to follow, so let's see what it is. 300 experience points.
Okie dokie.
200 for the session. 50 for overcoming obstacles of note or combat, i.e. the Casballica fucks in the docking bay. And 50 for acquiring navigation charts for future use, plus taking on the chest of goodies from Scrivener, what's his face, Jorn.
Chest of goodies.
300 experience points. Feedback and outros. Starting with, go backwards
That
this
should
time.
bring us to an even 6,000, shouldn't it?
It should.
Yeah, actually it will, yeah. Rodance! What kind of feedback, thoughts for the episode, etc. do you have? How you feeling?
I got done with work a grand total of 20 minutes ago. Barely.
Damn, that sucks.
Yeah.
Were you on the clock the whole time, too?
I'm salary.
That's
Oh.
even shittier, but also cool, because usually salary pays more. Pays more!
Yeah. A required task didn't get assigned for today, so when one of the people emailed us and went, "Yo, where's my stuff?"
Mhm.
We're like, "Well, there's literally 2 of us on, and it's my pet DC that's the one with the problem, so I guess it's mine to fix."
Mm. Sucks.
As
Any-
far as my character goes, how much XP did you say we just got?
300.
Cool. I think I've already spent it. Well, no, you don't understand. What I asked for when buying security is called an elite advancement. The standard cost of that is 500. So I've technically already spent it, and I'm still short 100. So.
Oh, you have what we can call an experience point debt.
Yeah, so I'm gonna write down negative 100 because I do really want it, but the average cost of one, unless you, okay, look, I've dealt with pirates. I took the stealthy stuff. I just haven't had a chance to buy security yet. So I will take the hit because the average cost is 500. It's mentioned on that page. It's before you get. It's like that last page before you get into the actual character charts.
Right. Yeah,
it's like page 30
mentioned,
or something like that.
There's a couple of places it's mentioned.
Yeah, but it's called an elite advancement, so
Yep.
I'll pay you the 500 XP. I just can't. I don't have it right now. I'm now 100 short.
Okay, no worries.
But I think it'll be fun to have since no one else did. Since no one else took it.
And now we have a busted chest to try to figure out how to get into.
Okay, I'm
Indeed.
paying for 500 experience for something I immediately failed horrifyingly with.
Did? What was it,
Doesn't
like
that
94
just
to...
sound like the way of things?
I was gonna say that sounds like a trip to the hardware store to me.
That sounds like exactly what happens when you go to get a new car. You get approved for financing, you drive it off the lot, and 3 days later somebody T-bones you.
Now that you said hardware store,
That's actually
everybody
what gap
go
insurance is
listen to
for, and if
Hardware
you don't
Store.
get gap insurance on a new car, it's your own damn fault. That's actually what it's called.
Yeah,
Because
no, I know
the
what you mean.
loss of value. Yeah.
Ooh, excuse me. Alterios!
But-
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Sorry. You weren't done.
Yeah, I didn't realize that navigators were perception based. So that's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have science personally because that feeds into
Well, it's
some
part
of the
your...
invocation stuff for psychic
Yeah, it's
things.
part of your
So it
psychic
kind of,
thing.
I'm not too surprised to say that we're different, except she probably has navigation where I have invocation, and that's probably the big difference.
She has... So her psycherness is keyed almost entirely to the warp as a conduit of travel. You're tied to the warp as a conduit of power. And communication, obviously.
Well, and mine's an actual psychic development. She's kind of just a mutated person.
Yeah.
She's a super special mutant.
And she's
she's a mutant that they decided to keep and not murder.
They've got special navigator things, but they're not strictly speaking psychers.
Exactly.
Correct. Yeah. And she's 7 feet tall, incredibly skinny, and
Can't be worse.
Oh yeah, one last question.
Yep.
What craft quality was the recoil gloves that we all got?
Common.
So yeah, now everyone has common craft recoil gloves and common craft rebreather.
And
common craft blast goggles.
Yeah.
And you can combine the blast goggles and the
goggles.
Yes.
Oh right. So
the
they would be
goggles and the
good crafted.
rebreather can be one piece if you like.
I'll keep mine as 2.
Yeah.
If you like. Alterios, feedback for tonight? Any other thoughts you want to throw in?
Nah, I liked it.
I know you...
I'm also very tired, so my thoughts are starting to kind of like...
I know the feeling.
Turn into jello.
Yep.
And if we played very much longer, you would have gotten half awake me, which is probably a bad idea.
I was really keeping a very close eye on the time when starting to go through the navigation stuff. The warp stuff. Because I knew we started the warp stuff a little bit later than I would have liked, because I wanted to get through the whole thing, the whole journey, but here we are in the warp. When we come back, we'll figure out what kind of encounter happens and what happens from that. And then we'll go into arriving at the Hermitage. So that'll be the gist of next episode. Anything else? Alterios?
No.
Okay. Warner!
Sup?
Feedback, outro, comments, what do you got?
I think you know my feedback.
I suck as a GM. I got you.
Is but we all have been in the warp before. Even if we're not experienced enough to not have to roll, we should get some kind of benefit.
I hear you, and I will start considering benefits in that. Like I said, I wanted this first one to be the...
I get it.
Where's the chart for it?
Which chart are you looking to? Which one are you talking about?
Like, legitimately, the chart we roll for heading navigation, because I can't find it. It bugs me.
What do you mean? I'm confused.
So when we fail for being Going
The
through the
willpower
warp.
test.
Yeah.
In the Navis Primer, Chapter 2, where it talks about Stage 2, entering the warp or something like that. Or maybe it's Stage 3. I
Okay.
don't. It's 2 or 3.
That makes sense.
Also, as GM to player, a recommendation. Somebody during your next opportunity for acquisition roll, I forget exactly what it's called. It's in, I believe, Into the Storm. It may be in the Navis Primer. There is a medicine that you can acquire, a drug that you can acquire that will give you, I believe, either a plus 10 or possibly a plus 20 bonus. It's
Pop them
white.
Quaaludes.
It's white something or other, like White Lotus or some dumb shit like that. For when entering the warp, it gives you a plus 10 or plus 20 to your willpower test. It helps you calm the fuck down.
The only way to go on the warp is high.
I mean, that's effectively what it is, right?
Oh god.
You're going on this mind-bending trip, so you might as well be tripping balls.
Yeah.
Anybody got
That's
any
not a
acid?
demon. That's just Phil.
What's up, Dragon? We're at the tail end of this episode, but thanks for popping in and saying hi. Warner, did you have anything else besides that
No,
wondrous
that's-
feedback?
Look, when I'm a GM, I want my players to be honest with me, so
No, absolutely, absolutely. And
that is the sum total of my feedback for this session. Actually, it's not. I enjoyed the interplay between the gangs and the party. Not just because I succeeded in a role, but also because I'm like, yep, that's what Rev would do. Yep, that's it worked. It's a good place for the party to interject some character into their character, and I appreciated that.
I loved it. I enjoyed it. I think it was the funny part for me is I'm picturing the dialogue as scripted would be. It would have ended up being, "Oh, that's cute. You're funny," and pow, face melts.
Mhm.
Because that's more or less the timing on how that went.
Uh-huh.
All right, Darius, feedback, outro comments. What you got, brother?
Similar to others, I have problems with you not giving me bonuses on the warp roll.
Oh, GM sucks. He's not giving me bonuses on the dice rolls. I hate you. I'm sorry. That might have been a
Because
little
we're
bit
supposed
much.
to have those bonuses.
Listen, the
If it's
rule
something
straight
that
up
we
said
weren't
I
supposed to have, I
can.
wouldn't care.
Yes.
Now, granted, admittedly, some of you, based on your character development as backstory, arguably would have been in the warp multiple times. Probably the Void Master, probably the former guardsman, now arch-militant. Alturios, possibly. Winter, questionable. Rev, no. You grew up in a soft, cushioned world, living all the wonders and pleasures of being ridiculously wealthy and powerful.
I was kidnapped by pirates. I've been through the warp several times.
Is it several, or is it just once or twice?
A couple. I mean, you're going through the warp whenever you're going from like basic planetary system to the next one over.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
if you're
I'm
flying
leading-
through real space, sure, you can spend 100 years doing it, but otherwise you're jumping from place to place.
I'm a leading member of nobility. I've made jumps before.
Hmm. Like we've all been through the warp before. No questions, because we
It's
all
just
got
the
here.
amount of times.
Yeah.
Well, we'd say, somebody like Rev, let's say he's been through the warp fewer times because more or less he's led a sheltered life.
Yeah.
The press ganged people probably enough to have gotten a plus 10, me maybe a plus 20, the Void Master almost assuredly a plus 30
Yeah.
because he's a freaking Void Master.
I've had to go to Earth and back because I have my eyes burned out by the
yeah.
Emperor.
That's a
remember?
fair point,
Yes,
actually.
That is
Yeah.
a very fair point.
It's actually
Yeah.
a really long travel.
It is.
And I think the navigator and I probably have spent just about as much time in the warp because her
Yep.
role is to move the ship and my role is to communicate while on a ship. So
Yep.
I'm always been on a ship since I became a psyker.
You make an excellent argument.
Yes.
So,
what
we
I'm
should have
hearing
pretty
is,
decent tolerance, but I'm also of a class that's built around having godforsaken amounts of willpower. So,
yeah. So what I'm hearing is, in the future, as funny as it
Mhm.
would be to retcon this, it's still funnier to me to leave it as is. But in the future,
Mm-hmm.
some willpower bonuses are definitely in order, and I will. Again, part of this was part of the tutorial learning stage of how to do a jump effectively. So there's a lot of little steps, but we're through the big ones now. Now it's basically warp encounters and then exiting the warp. That's more or less all that's left.
Yay!
That, and I gotta double check as far as the duration of the trip, but I think that's actually figured out when you're exiting. Now that I think about it. But at any rate, anything else before we move on to Rev? Darius? I want more bonuses. I want more
Just
positive
that I'm going to
outcomes.
need somebody to stay after to help me out with a couple things on the character. Yeah.
I'm not sure White Void, the drug that you're referring to, is applicable.
I think that's it.
Because it gives you a big plus 20 willpower bonus, but it's only for 10 minutes.
That's all you need.
It's translating.
It's literally to cross the threshold between real space and whatever the fuck that is not.
Okay.
So here's the countdown. 3,
Yep.
2, pop the pill.
Yep.
1.
That's exactly how that works.
Long-term usage slowly removes coloration from the eyes. Okay, Rodance, it won't be a problem for you.
The only one. And thankfully, Pythagoras and Archimedes don't have to worry about that either. But it won't affect their their LED light colors.
I'm pretty sure if any of us had the necessary skills, it would have. Just to fuck with him.
We'll see. See. Rev, feedback, outro, comments.
Just that it's a hard willpower test or you become addicted, so new problem gained.
Listen, I
wanna
throw
roll for trauma,
ideas.
or do you want to roll for addiction? Like,
It's if you use it within, I think, more than once in a week or something like that. I could be
If
wrong.
used more than twice in a week-long period.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So you really only need it. I mean, basically, as long as you only use it when you're entering the warp, because you don't have to make another willpower test on the way out, as I recall. So that's only when you're going into the warp.
Just for our other 3-day jump of the journey, unless your roll determines that this took more than 3 days.
No. That's only entering the warp. So the rest. So for now, until whenever you come out, this willpower test is done. Now the effects of failing this willpower test will be felt until you come out of the warp.
Right, but here's what I'm saying. You've used more than twice in a week-long period, so basically we're going to be using it for 2 separate jumps. So we wouldn't be able to jump again for another.
you could just
at
wait
the
around for a
discretion.
couple days.
Yes, at the discretion of the captain of the ship, you might wait for a couple days before heading into the void again.
Yeah, because ultimately it boils down to the navigator saying, "Sir, this is a good time to enter the warp," and the captain saying, "Is it though? I am the captain. Look at me. Look at me. I am the captain now." And the navigator going, "No, you're right. You're the captain, but I am telling you now would be a good time. Is it though?"
Do you want me getting addicted to Quaaludes?
That seems pretty goddamn accurate. Rev, you got anything else, man? Any feedback or anything for tonight?
No, not really.
Okay. All right. Well, that's about all I got.
If there's something that I have to come up with a detailed description of, I would like more than 30 seconds advance
That's
notice.
fair, and I meant to do that, but I've been distracted, and then we didn't meet for 2 weeks, and then today was an absolute shit show. Well, it wasn't a shit show at work. I just got super busy trying to get done fast enough to get home at a decent time.
Too busy handling
good ritual.
I think it's cool. So we take a couple of coins from the player, or not the players, the crew, melt it down into an Aquila. We hang the Aquila in the bridge until we come out of warp, and then we put that in the vault. We sanctify it somehow. Maybe somebody douses it with holy water and prays to the God Emperor. I don't know.
I was thinking a skull with an imperial seal.
That works too.
And obols in the skull's eyes.
Oh, that would be pretty cool.
Very nice.
That would be really cool and very thematic for the Acheron fairy.
Yeah.
Like
And
it.
they just get hung in the Lord Captain's personal chapel at the end.
Yeah, or yeah, a vault or some other place of honor, and not just. Obviously, we can't put it in a storage closet.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it gets stuck above a random doorway like a horseshoe does.
Yeah.
No, they're placed in the chapel until we reach a dock of sorts. And then they are added to some type of ornamentation on the prow.
Ooh.
Ooh, yes, I do. That
Me
sounds fun.
likey.
So we just
really
have a
good.
skull scudded.
You have rhinestones added to the outside of the ship now.
You bedazzled the ship.
No,
I fucking love
hate
it though. I don't
no.
care. That sounds dumb as fuck, but also it sounds sick as hell that you bedazzled the fucking Acheron's ferry, this 2-kilometer
With-
long fucking ship of war
With gold skulls.
with golden skulls. I love it. I fucking love it.
That's great.
I need some artwork of this thing now. I'm not an artist, I can't afford to pay anybody, but I could really use some good art of this. Oh man! All right, let's get the hell out of here. We're fucking running way behind at this point, but it's fine. We're done. That is it for tonight. Stay safe out there, my friends.
Yeah.
This world is a grimdark world, so make sure you're doing what you got to do to take care of you and yours. As for me and mine, we are out of here. Have a wonderful night. We'll see you next time.
Bye.